Chapter 161. The small house had no windows, but under the activation of the large array, it was extremely bright. Ching Er, who was dressed in a snow-white Blademaster cloth, stood in the middle of the large array. Her obsidian-like glassy eyes stared at Su Yun. Her mouth was slightly opened, her originally white cheeks were flushed red. She was extremely cute. In next to no time, she recovered from her shock. Her exquisite and fine figure moved slightly while her fine and jet-black long hair fluttered with the wind. She lowered her head, and she seemed extremely shy and uneasy like a bride that was about to enter the bridal chamber. Seeing that, Su Yun was stunned for a moment, but quickly regained his senses. He could not hold his old face, coughed, and pretended to be serious. That? Ching Er, don't misunderstand, I didn't mean it that way. Later on, the diagnosis will require you to remove your clothes, to ensure that the spirit qi of the large array can better permeate your body, to analyze the composition of the demonic poison in your body, as well as the pattern of its activation. And so you need to remove your clothes. I definitely do not have the intention to take advantage of you. So it's like that. Ching Er's face was still flushed red, her eyes were looking at her toes, she did not dare to raise her head to look at him, her pair of white hands were extremely nervous, holding onto her clothes, not knowing if she should take it off. Not taking it off was not good either. Su Yun thought for a moment, took a deep breath, and said, "How about this, Ching Er? I'll turn around first, wait for you to remove it, and use some profound spirit qi to cover it. It should be better." No need. Young master. Ching Er is fine. Ching Er bit her lips, her small hands trembling as she extended her hands towards her own Blademaster cloth. She closed her eyes, her long eyelashes trembling slightly, tender and alluring, and her hands also touched the cloth button. Su Yun anxiously turned around. He was lecherous, and was not a gentleman, but he was willing to respect Ching Er. This was the most basic respect for a person. Behind him, there was a series of slight movements, rustling, and after an unknown period of time, a trembling voice that sounded like a cat's call came out. Young master, it's done. Oh, have you released your profound spirit qi? Su Yun turned and said. However, when he turned around, his eyes widened as if his soul was about to leave its sheath. In the array in front of him, a perfect jade-like body appeared in his line of sight. The young lady's skin was pure white, and her entire body was like jade, perfect and flawless. She placed one hand across her breasts, which were neither too big nor too small, and the curve of her breasts was incomparably alluring. Her other hand covered her lower body, covering her private parts. Her long hair, which was as smooth as ink, was scattered around her fragrant shoulders. She tilted her head slightly, and her eyes were tightly shut. She bit her pink lips lightly, and her cheeks were so red that it seemed as though blood would drip out at any moment. After a while, Su Yun regained his senses and anxiously said, "Ching Er, young master, it's all right." Ching Er closed her eyes, her voice weak and gentle. Ching Er is all right too. Young master, if you don't mind Ching Er's body, it's all right too. The young girl seemed to have made up her mind to say these words. As the words left her lips, the young girl's cheeks became even redder. It was as if a light touch would cause blood to seep out of her skin. Su Yun was stunned for a moment. Suddenly, his heart was as clear as a mirror, and the burning desire dissipated by half. Why did Ching Er say that? Does she like me? Maybe she cares about me, but to talk about love, does she really have it? Su Yun did not know. Maybe she just wanted to repay her parents for their kindness. Su Yun took a deep breath, and quickly suppressed the sinful thoughts in his mind. He released some turbid profound spirit qi, and wrapped it around her delicate body. Then, he pulled Ching Er to sit down. Ching Er, don't think too much. Young master is not such a bastard. You are even poisoned. What we need to do now is to cure the poison. How can we do that? We don't have much time, let's hurry up and get started. Upon hearing this, Ching Er's heart that was beating like a deer calmed down. She slowly opened her eyes, and saw her young master looking at her with a gentle smile. His eyes were filled with warmth. Ching Er's heart warmed. She did not know why, but a strange feeling surrounded her. She nodded her head lightly, and her shyness faded a little. She sat cross-legged. Very quickly, Su Yun entered the main topic. Looking at the gentle and peaceful girl in front of him, Su Yun's heart suddenly had an indescribable impulse. Fiercely taking a deep breath, he extended his hand and lifted Ching Er's tender and innocent hands. Gently holding on to them, he started to use qi and activate the array. Hua! The array was activated. The entire array produced a large amount of pure white qi. They were like silk as they drilled into Ching Er's delicate body. One day later, Su Yun opened his eyes with a pale face. Ching Er had already fainted. Using this array to analyze the composition of the poison in her body, it would cause the poison to become active. Ching Er would feel the pain that she had never felt before. Although it was not fatal, it was enough to torment her. Su Yun walked over and picked up the Blade Master robes on the floor. He helped the girl wear it piece by piece. Feeling the delicate and smooth skin, his heart was in turmoil. Unknowingly, Ching Er slowly opened her eyes. Seeing the young master helping her wear the robes, the redness that had faded away rushed back up again. She closed her eyes tightly, not daring to look. Only when Su Yun called out to her did she dare to open her eyes. But at the moment, Su Yun's face was filled with seriousness, his brows were filled with worry. Upon seeing this, Ching Er's heart jumped. She quickly asked, "Young master, what's wrong?" Su Yun did not speak. He lowered his head and pondered. After a moment, he spoke in a low voice. "Ching Er, maybe you have to stay behind too." "Stay behind?" Ching Er was slightly stunned. "Stay in Blossom Heart Valley? Young master, don't tell me you want to leave alone?" Su Yun fiercely sighed and said, "You have been poisoned for 3 years. If we use the normal method to remove the isolated Luo demonic poison, I'm afraid it will not be effective. So I have decided to find a few medicinal ingredients for you to refine a special pill. This pill might be able to remove the demonic poison in your body. Then Ching Er will go with young master. No, now that we have escaped from the Su family, you will not be able to take any pills to alleviate the poison. The demonic poison will act up at any time. Blossom Heart Valley is a medical expert. With you here, I will be more at ease. Before I leave, I will prepare a method to suppress the demonic poison. In a short period of time, there should be no problem." "Young master." Ching Er looked at him worriedly and said, "Then, will you be in danger?" Su Yun was stunned for a moment. Then, he smiled. "Don't worry. I will be fine. Furthermore, I am the Limitless Sword God. My cultivation is very powerful." His words were relaxed and there was a hint of teasing. Ching Er only smiled. She did not say anything. The worry in her eyes deepened. The two of them left the small house. Su Yun let Xian Yu arrange for Ching Er to rest while he went to look for the Pill King. Inside the Pill King pavilion. "I want to see the Valley Master." Su Yun entered the door and called for the Pill King. He spoke bluntly. "See the Valley Master?" The Pill King was stunned. He shook his head. "Little brother, you came at the wrong time. The Valley Master is in closed-door cultivation. I'm afraid she will not be able to see you. What's the matter?" Su Yun hesitated for a moment. Suddenly, he raised his head and stared at the Pill King. He asked, "I have a unique secret. I want to share it with the Valley. It is related to spirit life chi." "What?" After the Pill King heard that, he was stunned. Then, his sunken eyes suddenly opened wide. In a flash, he appeared in front of Su Yun. He grabbed his hands and shouted, "Quickly tell me! Brat, what secret is it? Quickly tell me!" Many people in Blossom Heart Valley cultivate spirit life chi. If you research this secret, you can create a pill that is extremely useful to the valley. It will be extremely beneficial to the people who cultivate spirit life chi. I originally did not want to share this secret with the valley, but I have some matters that I hope the valley can help me with. Out of helplessness, I will use it as a condition. If the Pill King can make the decision and agree to my conditions, I will give you the secret with both hands. Make the decision? Of course I can make the decision. Just say it. Whatever you need, just say it. This old man, will agree to anything. The Pill King patted his skinny chest and said solemnly, Since the Pill King has said so, then I will not be unreasonable. Su Yun's expression was serious. He said, Tomorrow I will leave Julian district and head to other places to gather ingredients. I will concoct pills to cure Qing Air's poison. Although Qing Air is in the valley, I am still worried. I have brought Qing Air away from the Su family. The Profound Sky sect and the Su family will not let this go. They will chase us here sooner or later. So, I hope that the valley can protect Qing Air's safety. Of course I know. Little brother, even if you did not say it, this old man would not dare to neglect it. The guards that I am talking about are not the protection of the ordinary disciples. I hope that the valley can send out the elites from the poison immortal valley. Ah! The Pill King's face changed. He was petrified. After a while, he said, How do you know about the people from the poison immortal valley? Su Yun shook his head. He muttered, The miraculous Blossom Heart Valley. They kill people without a trace. Blossom Heart Valley is a famous sect in Julian district. How can they not have a method to protect themselves? Although not many people know of the existence of the Poison Immortal Valley, it is not a secret to me. After all, I have done some research on medicine. I have heard much more than the average person. Hearing that, the Pill King was silent for a moment. After a while, he nodded and said, I will find the elders to discuss this matter. What I want is not to discuss. I want them to come out and protect Qing Air. If they are unable to do so, Su Yun will find someone else to cure her. Seeing that Su Yun was so determined, the Pill King did not hesitate. He immediately nodded his head. Yes. Very good. Su Yun nodded. Then, prepare these things for me. Also, give me 100,000 spirit coins and a strong purple-horned beast. As Su Yun said that, he wrote a list of items and handed it over. The Pill King took it and looked at it carefully. Don't worry. Compared to this, the recipe is much more precious. Su Yun said. The Pill King did not speak. After a long while, he kept the list and said seriously, Deal? I will set off tomorrow. Su Yun took out another recipe from his storage ring and gave it to the Pill King. Chapter 162. Woo! A melodious roar resounded. A purple-horned beast the size of a small house slowly walked out of Blossom Heart Valley. On top of the purple-horned beast sat a man dressed in a black Blade Master outfit and carrying a sword sheath. Qing Air, who was behind, bit her lips. She stood at the entrance of the valley and quietly watched Su Yun leave. Even though the man had already disappeared from the valley entrance, she was still unwilling to return to the valley. She continued to watch in a daze. The sun gradually set. Su Yun rode on the purple-horned beast that Guillermo Ju provided. He ran at full speed towards the outskirts of Julian district. Very quickly, he left Julian district and entered the mystical mountain range that was right next to it. Triple Yang Universe Pill. It was a rare pill that was recorded in an ancient book. This book was not from Blossom Heart Valley. Instead, it came from a small ancient sect called Triple Yang Universe Sect. However, Triple Yang Universe Sect had already been destroyed 2,000 years ago. The location of the sect was in ruins. The pill's refining method was also lost. The reason why he was able to obtain the Triple Yang Universe pill was because of a coincidence. That was when he was still studying in Blossom Heart Valley. Because he needed to concoct a pill, Su Yun carried a medicine basket to Broken Rush City to buy ingredient. Coincidentally, there was someone selling medicine books at that time. Among them, there was this Triple Yang Universe pill. However, from the text of the Tri-Yang Universe pill's secret manual, on the surface, it was just a very ordinary qi and spirit-nurturing secret manual. Every page was densely packed with words, but in reality, every page recorded the description of the Tri-Yang Universe pill. Furthermore, there was only one sentence on every page. To read this sentence, one had to look from the upper right corner to the lower left corner. Every page had a sentence, and the entire book had gathered the refining method and principles of this miraculous pill. Discovering this hidden chant was also a coincidence. When Su Yun bought this book, he was careless and did not hold it firmly. The book fell to the ground and tilted at an angle. Only then did he discover this clue. According to the book's description, the Triple Yang Universe pill could reverse heaven and earth. It could reverse yin and yang. It could revive the dead, regenerate flesh, and cure hundreds of poisons. He did not know if this was true or not. However, even if someone were to discover the method and principle behind this pill's concoction, it would be very difficult to grasp it. Not to mention the fact that the profound words were extremely difficult to understand. Just the ingredients used to concoct this pill were all precious treasures, and obtaining them would be like a fantasy. Su Yun had fantasized about using this pill to get rid of the strange phenomenon of his talent being unable to improve. However, after spending several months of research, he understood the meaning of the words clearly, but he was stuck at the bottleneck of materials, so he had no choice but to give up. Back then, without cultivation, it was extremely difficult to find materials, but now it was different. Furthermore, he had to obtain those materials now. He had to refine the Tri-Yang Universe pill that could cure all poisons. His heart was like a boulder. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. The purple-horned beast's thick and sturdy limbs let out a roar, causing the ground to tremble. Su Yun held onto the reins, his mind unable to calm down. With the protection of the elites of the poisonous Immortal Valley, Qing air was safe for the time being. However, the demonic poison in her body was not suppressed by any medicine. With his prescription, she could only hold on for a few months. If he was unable to refine the Triple Yang Universe Dan, after a few months, the situation would become even more dangerous. After entering the mystical mountain range, Su Yun rode on the purple-horned beast, stepped on the mountain road, and ran straight towards the Mu family. Every single material for the Triple Yang Universe Dan was extremely rare. It was difficult for ordinary people to obtain, and the first material was related to the Soul Stone. Talking about the Soul Stone, it was the Mu family of the mystical mountain range. As an ancient Soul Stone family, the Mu family had many resources that the Soul Stone Masters did not have. He had a friendship with Mu Feng before, and had saved him twice. If he asked for the rare Yin-Yang Soul Stone powder, maybe Mu Feng would generously give it to him. Even if he was unwilling, he could exchange for it. Obtaining the Yin-Yang Soul Stone powder should not be a problem. Along the way, he did not stop to rest. Very quickly, Su Yun arrived at the north side of the mystical mountain range, Mu Chong City. A city that belonged to the Mu family. This was the holy land for the Soul Stone Masters in the southern region. There were many Soul Stone Masters from all over the place gathered here. There were beginner Soul Stone Masters, and there were also famous Masters. Regardless of the rank of the Soul Stone Master, they were all indebted to the Mu family. The Mu family held the dominant position in Mu Chong City. Su Yun was still dressed in Limitless sword god attire, but he did not wear his mask. He rode on the purple-horned beast and entered the city. Although in the eyes of ordinary people, the purple-horned beast was a high-grade item, and only those with high status and power could use it, but in Mu Chong City, it was only a mount that could be used for show. People who could learn the Soul Stone technique, could they still be poor? Mounts like the purple-horned beast could be said to be everywhere on the streets. As he neared Mu Chong City, he could see that the people entering and exiting the city were all dressed in bright clothes. Many of them had necklaces and rings hanging from their bodies. Their entire body was covered in treasures, sparkling and dazzling. Su Yun looked left and right, then rode on the purple-horned beast and entered the city. As soon as he entered the city, he heard shouts and the sound of bargaining. The Mu family was not like the Su family. This place was very open. Because of the gathering of soul stone masters, there were many people who came here to sell materials related to the soul stone technique. Soul stone masters were all rich people, so it was naturally easier to earn spirit coins from them than from other places. Although it was not Su Yun's first time in Mu Chong City, he was not familiar with the place. After asking around, he found the Mu family's courtyard. There was a 5-meter-tall, 7-meter-wide gigantic stone door. On it there were 2 jade carvings of the word jade. 2 gigantic statues that looked like Qilins were placed on the left and right side of the door. It was rumored that these 2 statues were personally set up by the patriarch of the Mu family. They were originally soul stones. If the Mu family were to cause trouble, they would immediately come to life and assist the Mu family to kill anyone who caused trouble. They would not be merciful, so the Mu family had always lived in harmony and peace. 2 disciples of the Mu family stood in front of the door. Their gazes swept across every single person that came and went. Su Yun rode on the purple-horned beast and walked over. He cupped his fists towards the 2 and said, "Can I trouble you to inform them that Su Yun is here to visit young Master Mu Feng?" Hearing this, the 2 hurriedly went down the stairs. After sizing up Su Yun, they returned the greeting. Reporting to this young master, "Our family's young Master Mu Feng has recently fallen ill. It is inconvenient for him to meet guests. Please return." Fallen ill? Hearing this, Su Yun frowned. "Your family's young master is at least an 8th stage spirit intermediate disciple. How could he fall ill? Most spirit cultivators would not fall ill. If there was a problem, it would be due to injuries or poison. But the 2 of them were in a trance. They did not explain and cupped their fists. "Please return, young master. Our family's young master is unable to meet you." With that, they could not be bothered with Su Yun. They immediately turned and prepared to leave. "Wait!" Just as the 2 of them turned, Su Yun shouted. He took out an order badge from his waist and handed it over. "I am from Blossom Heart Valley. I am here on the orders of the Pill King to visit young Master Mu Feng. If young Master Mu Feng is really sick, maybe I can cure him." Blossom Heart Valley? The 2 disciples of the Mu family looked at each other. Their faces were filled with suspicion. If it was an ordinary person, they could reject him. But if it was someone from Blossom Heart Valley, they could not neglect him. "Young master, please wait for a moment. I will inform the master now." With that, a disciple of the Mu family turned and ran towards the door. After a while, that person ran out and respectfully bowed to Su Yun. "Young master, my family's master invites you. Please follow me." "Thank you." Su Yun got down from the purple-horned beast and cupped his fists. "Please." With that said, the people from the Mu family led Su Yun into the huge mansion. The Mu family's manor had a unique charm to it. Upon entering the door, he felt as though he was in paradise. It was as though his soul was about to leave his body. Su Yun looked left and right. He could see that the trees, fake mountains and even the floor beneath his feet were all embedded with spirit stones. These spirit stones were decorated with plants. They were able to increase the effectiveness of the spirit stones. It allowed people to be calm and unobstructed in their blood vessels. The entire Mu family was probably decorated with these spirit stones. As expected of the spirit stone family, Su Yun sighed in his heart. His eyes were looking around. After walking across the bridge and passing through the garden, he was finally brought to the guest hall in the middle of the Mu family. Inside the guest hall, the patriarch of the Mu family and the 2 deputy clan elders were seated. Seeing Su Yun enter, they stood up and nodded. I am Su Yun. I pay my respects to the patriarch and the 2 deputy clan elders. Su Yun cupped his fists and bowed respectfully. Su Yun? The patriarch, Mu Tianhao's eyes were filled with suspicion. Blossom Heart Valley Pill King's disciple, is there anyone with the surname Su? Never heard of it. The deputy clan elders Mu Zhua and Mu Yu shook their heads. Seeing that, Su Yun knew he could not hide it anymore. He smiled and said, "To be honest, I am not a disciple of Blossom Heart Valley. I am a friend of the Pill King." Friend of the Pill King? When Mu Tianhao heard that, he was stunned for a moment, then he laughed out loud. Ha 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 ha, little brother, your joke is not nice. It's not that I'm looking down on you, but Master Pill King is a person who can bring the dead back to life. You're too young, how can you be friends with him? This is really hard to believe, ha ha. Saying that, Mu Tianhao seemed to have lost interest in Su Yun. He waved his hand and laughed. Little brother, stay here and have a cup of tea before you leave. I still have some matters to attend to. I will not accompany you any longer. My apologies. With that, he stood up and prepared to leave. But in the next second, Su Yun took out the order badge. This is the order badge that the Pill King gave me. It can prove that what I said is true. Other than that, I am here to meet my old friend, Mu Feng. If I return empty-handed, how can I let this go? Mu Tianhao stared at the order badge. After thinking for a while, he looked at the person beside him. The person beside him immediately understood and went over to take the order badge. He showed it to Mu Tianhao. Mu Tianhao took it and looked at it. He could feel the vast spirit qi inside. Instantly, he understood that the order badge was not fake. He did not dare to look down on Su Yun anymore. To be honest, Patriarch, I have a good relationship with young Master Mu Feng. If it is convenient, can I meet young Master Mu Feng? Su Yun asked. To ask for Yin Yang Soul Stone Powder, it was better to ask Mu Feng for help. It was a rare treasure. If he asked directly, Mu Tianhao would most likely find a reason to reject him. I believe that young Master Su has heard from the servants that my son is sick. It is inconvenient for him to meet guests. So please forgive me. Mu Tianhao said. Sick? May I ask, Patriarch, what illness does young Master Mu Feng have? If I have heard of it before, I can help. Su Yun did not have much confidence in his medical skills. He just wanted to get the soul stone powder. For that, he dared to try anything. Mu Tianhao and the 2 managing elders secretly exchanged glances. Finally, Mu Tianhao nodded his head and said, Since you are a friend of the Pill King, you must be knowledgeable in medical skills. Since that is the case, follow me. Chapter 163. Passing through the small path and the side hall, a group of people arrived at an elegant garden behind the guest hall. The surrounding air was clear, the birds were chirping and the flowers were fragrant. A quiet bamboo pavilion entered Su Yun's eyes. My son loves bamboo. The place he lives in is made of bamboo. As Mu Tianhao spoke, he led Su Yun into the bamboo house. Master! 2 pretty maids at the door bowed to Mu Tianhao and the rest. Mu Tianhao nodded and asked, How is young Master? Master, young Master is very uncomfortable. He did not calm down for the entire night. We have already changed 3 spirit doctors. There is no improvement. We can only rely on medicine to suppress it. After he took the medicine, there was no more movement. Is that so? Mu Tianhao frowned. He sighed. Open the door. I'll go in and take a look. Yes, Master. The 2 maids replied. They opened the door of the bamboo pavilion and the group entered. The outside of the bamboo pavilion was quiet and elegant. The inside of the bamboo pavilion was no exception. There were all sorts of bamboo decorations. They were extremely exquisite. Every decoration had a soul stone imprinted on it. Spiritual qi rippled and soul power shot out. At the end of the pavilion, there was a huge bamboo bed. On the bed laid a young man with a pale face and thin clothes. The young man's face was extremely ugly. There were many black scars on the exposed parts of his body. Many of the scars had cracks. The blood vessels in the cracks had ruptured. Fresh blood flowed around the cracks. Under the bed there was a spirit array. The spirit array was activated continuously. It released energy that enveloped the young man's body. It healed the cracks on his body and stopped the blood from flowing out. But even so, it could only solve the problem. Just by looking at him, one could guess how much pain he was in. Beside the bed was a slightly plump lady dressed in a yellow robe. The lady held onto a silk handkerchief. She was sobbing. Her eyes were red and she could not stop sobbing. "Master!" Seeing Mu Tianhao enter the bamboo pavilion, the lady cried out in sorrow. She could not help but wipe her tears. All right. Don't cry. There's a guest here. Don't lose your decorum." Mu Tianhao frowned and said. Then, he turned to Su Yun. "Young Master Su, Quan Er's illness cannot be treated by ordinary spirit doctors. Can I trouble young Master Su to diagnose and save Quan Er?" "Illness." Su Yun frowned and walked over. He looked at Mu Feng, who seemed to have fainted on the bed. Frowning, he extended his hand and pressed on Mu Feng's arm. He gently activated his profound spirit qi. Under Su Yun's deliberate control, the sharp profound spirit qi seeped into Mu Tianhao's body. However, just as it entered his body, it was met with a large amount of resistance from the strange black substance. Before the pure divine spirit qi could completely seep in, it was blocked. Su Yun retreated a few steps, his face changed. "Master Su, do you know how to treat my son?" Mu Tianhao asked. Su Yun turned his head with a cold face and stared at Mu Tianhao. "Master Patriarch, young Master Mu Feng is not sick but injured, right? Why didn't you just tell me?" "Injured?" Mu Tianhao's face changed, but very quickly, he lowered his voice and said, "Young Master Su, don't be angry. Now is not the time to investigate if Quan Er is sick or injured. What we need to consider now is how to save Quan Er. Young Master Su, please save Quan Er." Mu Tianhao avoided the main point, as though he was hiding something. Su Yun was slightly unhappy at first, but then he thought of something, and suddenly understood. The power that repelled his profound spirit qi just now seemed to be the power of the soul stone, which meant Mu Feng was injured by the power of the soul stone. The power of the soul stone? Wasn't it just the soul stone technique? If that was the case, didn't that mean? Su Yun took a deep breath. He knew that he had broken the rules. This was someone else's family matter. It was better not to ask too much. It was more appropriate to take the soul stone powder and leave quickly. He checked Mu Feng's body, probed for signs of life in his body, then stood up and said, "Master Patriarch, young Master's illness, maybe we can only rely on the electric wood to cure it. Other than that, I'm afraid there's no other way." The electric wood was a special type of wood. The wood contained a special kind of electricity. This electricity was extremely effective against the power of the soul stone, and could effectively remove the power of the soul stone in Mu Feng's body. Using the electric wood? When Mu Tianhao heard, he did not have much of a reaction. Instead, he shook his head and said, "Actually, there were a few spirit doctors who told me about using the electric wood to treat his illness, but the electric wood can only be found in the electric wood forest. To obtain one piece of electric wood is extremely difficult. Those spirit doctors said that to cure Quan Er's illness, they would need at least 100 pieces of electric wood. To obtain 100 pieces of electric wood in such a dangerous place, I'm afraid, my Mu family would have to sacrifice many lives. You can buy it from the market. Although it's expensive, you should be able to gather some. It's hard to gather such a large amount of electric wood in such a short period of time. I'm afraid Quan Er won't be able to last until the day we purchase 100 pieces of electric wood." There were too few electric wood in the market, and they were expensive. With the Mu family's strength, to be able to gather 10 pieces in a month was already a miracle. To gather 100? Mu Feng might not even be able to gather all of them. When Su Yun heard that, he pondered for a while and said, "Gathering 100 pieces of electric wood. Maybe it's not difficult. I can help you get them, but you have to promise me one thing. If you can fulfill my condition, these electric wood, I'll give it to you. How about that? Mr. Su, anyone can talk big. Don't bite your tongue. Get 100 pieces of electric wood? What's your cultivation level? No matter how strong you are, you shouldn't be a spirit soul disciple, right? Do you really think our Mu family doesn't have any spirit soul disciple? They don't even dare to say such arrogant words. How dare you?" Deacon Elder Muzwa could not stand it anymore. His voice was filled with dissatisfaction. Spirit soul disciple? Su Yun was a spirit intermediate disciple who did not even have a spirit core disciple. He shook his head. He was not angry. Instead, he asked, "Getting the electric wood does not depend on strength. It depends on technique. If you believe me, then believe me. If you don't, then watch Mr. Mu Feng die. I don't care." Muzwa, Lady Mu could not care less. She grabbed onto Mu Tianhao's sleeves and cried, "Master, master! You have to save Feng Er, he's your flesh and blood, you have to save him." Mu Tianhao frowned. Looking at his son's pale and pained expression, he said, "Don't say any more. Since Mr. Su has a way to get the electric wood to save Feng Er, then we will cooperate with Mr. Su." With that, he bowed deeply to Su Yun and said, "Mr. Su, thank you for your trouble. If you have any requests, just let me know. My Mu family will do our best to cooperate. I'll make a list later. Send people to prepare the things for me according to the list. But before that, you must prepare 100 grams of yin-yang soul stone powder. I need it." Yin-yang soul stone powder? Mu Tianhao was taken aback. Then, his face turned ugly. "Mr. Su, this yin-yang soul stone powder is a powder from my Mu family's main stone. In the entire southern continent there are only a few pieces of the main stone. This main stone only produces 5 grams every year. You want it? You want 20 years' worth of my Mu family's production. Compared to your son's life, what is this?" Su Yun said. Mu Tianhao lowered his head and thought for a while. Then, he waved his hand and said, "All right. We will do as Mr. Su says. But, I hope that Mr. Su will not disappoint my Mu family. Don't worry. Once you prepare the things for me, I will prepare the things for you." "All right." Mu Tianhao nodded. "I'll go arrange it now. Clan Elder Mu Yu. Patriarch Mu Yu is here. Go and prepare. First, arrange a place for Mr. Su to stay. Once Mr. Su writes down the list, you can start preparing." "Yes, Patriarch." Mu Tianhao nodded. Then, he said to Su Yun, "Mr. Su, please rest here tonight. You can leave tomorrow morning." "All right." Su Yun nodded. The Mu family did not neglect the person who dared to barge into the electric wood forest. They treated him with good wine and good meat. The room was tidied up neatly and clean. Whatever he needed was there. There were also 2 servants standing at the entrance of the room. They could satisfy all of Su Yun's requests. At night, Su Yun looked out of the window into the darkness. He took a deep breath. He sat cross-legged and started to qi. Everything had been sent over. Not only were there the ingredients that could be used the next day, 100 grams of yin-yang soul stone powder was also sent over. It had to be said that the Mu family had shown their sincerity. Initially, Su Yun could have taken the 100 grams of soul stone powder and left. But if he did that, he would have tricked the Mu family and become their enemy. He would have offended a big family. In the future, there would be many opportunities for him to work with the Mu family. The electric wood forest was a very special forest. In the Sky Martial continent, there were places where the 5 elements mutually destroyed each other. There were also places where the 5 elements existed. Just like the electric wood forest. From the outside, the electric wood forest looked like an ordinary forest. There was nothing special about it, but if one were to enter the electric wood forest, he would be enveloped by countless lightning bolts. The electric wood forest would attract lightning bolts from the sky, and every tree would contain intense lightning bolts. These lightning bolts were extraordinary. Even if a spirit-soul disciple cultivator were to touch it, his life would be in danger, not to mention other existences. There were only 4 electric wood forests in the southern region. The smallest one was the one in the mystical mountain range. Su Yun did not have a deep understanding of the electric wood forest, but he had read about it before. He had also heard people talk about how to survive in the electric wood forest. Forget it. Let's not think about it anymore. He took a deep breath and closed his eyes. He slowed down his profound spirit chi and focused all his senses on his heart. There was a pearl that glowed with a rainbow light. This was inlaid on the road to the Mu family. It was like an eye embedded in his heart, releasing a mystical light aura. As the light aura spread out, it nourished all the chi channels and spirit essences in his body. In that moment, Su Yun had a carefree feeling as though he had reached the peak. Monarch occult force. He opened his eyes and muttered. He raised his hand to instigate his profound spirit chi. The profound spirit chi that was supposed to be pure white was now revolving in his hand like a rainbow. The pure divine spirit chi that was wrapped by the 5 elemental chi was rippling in his palm. It was mystical. With this, his profound spirit chi would be extraordinary. No one would be able to defeat him. Even if he was just a spirit intermediate disciple, killing a spirit core disciple would be like slaughtering a pig or a dog. Su Yun thought. Voila! Just at this time, 2 figures suddenly flew past the window. The sound was extremely soft. Following that, the 2 servants who were standing in front of the door fell to the ground. Su Yun's eyes congealed. He picked up the sword sheath on the bed. With a move of his hand, the death sword was unsheathed. Chapter 164. He got off the bed, pulled out the death sword and thousand deep sword, and carefully walked towards the door. The door opened, and the 2 servants fell to the ground, as though they had fainted. The surroundings were quiet. Other than the sounds of insects, there was nothing else. The atmosphere was extremely strange. But Su Yun did not even think. He took a step forward and rushed out of the house. If he continued to stay in the cramped house, it would only be more dangerous. The open space outside the house would provide more opportunities for survival. But just as his body left the door, 2 pitch-black spells suddenly came from the left and right, striking at him with an extremely mournful and shrill voice. Su Yun's body moved slightly. He displayed the fallen leaves sword technique. His 2 swords were like leaves, floating towards the 2 mystical technique. Dang dang! The 2 sword images swept past, and the attack was blocked. Su Yun rushed forward for more than 10 meters before stopping. Looking up, he saw 4 masked men dressed in black standing on the roof, staring at him coldly. Don't interfere with the Mu family's matters. Get out of the Mu family now, or else you'll die. One of them said coldly. Oh! Su Yun's mouth curved into a smile. The reason why Mu Feng was injured was probably because of you guys? Do it. That man bellowed. Since I've taken the money, I have to help them. I've received the soul stone powder from the Mu family, so I have to treat Mu Feng's injuries. This is my principle. How can I just throw it away? Furthermore, if you ask me to get lost, I have to get lost? With that, Su Yun's thousand deep sword suddenly flew towards the fake mountain at the side. Under the effect of the monarch occult force, thousand deep sword was enveloped by the 5 elements chi and pure divine spirit chi. As he waved it, it was as though a rainbow swept past. It was incomparably dazzling, and its power was even more shocking and ferocious. Bang! The fake mountain was smashed into pieces, causing a huge commotion. Very quickly, the panicking voices of the Mu family could be heard from all directions. What's going on? Where did that noise come from? Quick! Go to the guest room and take a look. Soft voices could be heard continuously. The few black-robed men's eyes congealed. Kill him! The four of them did not dare to delay any further. In a blink of an eye, they rushed towards Su-yun. The chi on their bodies were extremely destructive scarlet star chi, and their cultivations were all at the spirit core disciple realm. Their grades were not low and were most likely above the 5th stage. If Su-yun was fighting one-on-one, he would naturally not be afraid, but now that there were 4 of them, he would only be at a disadvantage if he fought head-on. He retreated a few steps, waving both his hands fiercely. The pure divine spirit chi that was supported by the monarch occult force overflowed from the sword blade, and flung towards the 4 people rushing towards him. Bang! One of them looked down on Su-yun's strength and raised his weapon to block, but the moment the weapon clashed with the spirit chi, he was instantly blown away. Scarlet Star Spirit Chi, True Divine Spirit Chi, Swift Wind Spirit Chi, Frigid Aqua Spirit Chi and Spirit Life Spirit Chi all splashed out. And the fiercest pure divine Spirit Chi was like a knife. After being blocked by the opponent's weapon, it immediately shattered, transforming into pieces of iron like chi dregs, which pierced into the opponent's chest. Poochie 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 poochie. The crisp sound of flesh being pierced rang out. Although it was not fatal, the man's chest was badly mangled. It was a very frightening sight. This spirit chi. So strange. The man in black who was flipped over was stunned for a moment, then bellowed. This person is not simple, and this quickly. Hearing that, the other 3 took out a blue ball-shaped object from their storage ring, and when they neared Su-yun, they threw it over. Seeing that, Su-yun hurriedly threw away the 1,000-deep sword and death sword, and slashed towards the flying ball-shaped objects. Bang! 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 The ball-shaped objects were all cut into pieces, but the moment they were cut into pieces, they exploded, and a large amount of extremely cold spirit chi blew towards Su-yun, enveloping him. This spirit chi? Su-yun's heart congealed, and hurriedly threw away the 2 swords in his hands. So. The 2 swords flew in the air, and Su-yun was completely engulfed by the extremely cold spirit chi. The cold chi exploded, and the temperature dropped. He did not even have time to make a few moves, and was sealed, turning into an ice sculpture. He was still in the position of throwing his swords. Great! Seeing that Su-yun was frozen, the 3 of them had an ominous glint in their eyes, and immediately raised their weapons to unleash their mystical techniques, without holding back. But, just as the 3 of them rushed over, the 2 swords that were thrown away suddenly moved. The 2 swords spun in the air, and then they fell towards Su-yun, the sword tip piercing straight. Clang-dang! The ice block was pierced, and the person who was frozen recovered. He hurriedly caught the 2 swords with both hands, and retreated half a step, dodging the opponent's attack. Following that, the spirit chi in his body gushed out crazily, and in that moment, it turned into countless rainbow-like threads, revolving around Su-yun's body. Then, the sharp 1,000-deep sword spun crazily, and the sharp sword chi rippled. When had the 3 of them ever seen such a swift and fierce sword technique? They hurriedly retracted their hands, and were actually forced back by Su-yun. Storm sword technique. Such a strange technique. Although this guy's spirit chi was not strong, it was mixed with a large amount of energy. It was strange and hard to find. Furthermore, his technique was so strange, and it was hard to defend against. Who exactly was he? The man with a bloodied chest ran over. He was shocked, and his back was cold, and he broke out in cold sweat. But since it had come to this, how could he turn back? The 4 of them braced themselves, and once again rushed over. Audacious little rascal, you dare to behave atrociously in my Mu family? Do you really not know how to write the word death? Just then, a ruthless shout came out, and a middle-aged man dressed in a brown robe rushed over. Like a ferocious tiger coming down the mountain, he approached the 4 of them, and immediately struck with 4 palms. Seeing this person, the 4 of them revealed a shocked expression. They did not have time to dodge, and all of them were struck by the palms and immediately died. Su-Yun witnessed this scene and his heart congealed. To be able to kill a 5th stage spirit core cultivator with one palm, he had to be at least a 5th stage spirit soul cultivator. And he had to specialize in Scarlet Star Spirit Chi, Swift Wind Spirit Chi and other killing profound Spirit Chi, or else he would not be able to do this. The 4 of them fell to the ground, their chests caved in, and their internal organs were shattered. They died with grievances and were extremely miserable. Su-Yun shifted his gaze and looked at the person, only to see that it was a middle-aged man that he had never seen before. Without waiting for him to speak, a large number of Mu family guards rushed over, even Mu Tian-Hao and the higher-ups of the Mu family rushed over. Roar! A soul-shaking roar rippled out, and in the pitch-black night sky, 2 green beings that looked like Qilin stepped out. They looked like spirits, their entire bodies were green, and their legs were emitting green flames. They looked mighty and extraordinary. Looking carefully, they were actually the 2 statues that he saw at the entrance of the Mu family. He never thought that the 2 statues would actually come to life. Su-Yun was surprised. The Mu family's actions were rather fast. What happened? Mu Tian-Hao brought his men and ran over. Seeing the 4 corpses on the floor, his face darkened and shouted, "Mu Zhua! Reporting to Master, Mu Zhua is here." Deacon Elder Mu Zhua immediately stood out from the crowd. What's going on? Who are these people? Why are they in the guest's room? And to assassinate my Mu family's guest? This. Mu Zhua's face was flustered. He did not know how to explain. Quickly settle this matter. Quickly give me an explanation. Other than that, I will punish you to guard the Grand Elder's grave for 10 days. Get down. Mu Tian-Hao shouted with a cold face. Mu Zhua obeys. Mu Zhua lowered his head, replied softly, and left. Mu Yu. Master. Mu Yu cupped his fist. You are in charge of investigating the identity of these people. You must get to the bottom of this. Yes, Master. After Mu Yu replied, he ordered his men to take care of the 4 corpses. Mu Tian-Hao took a deep breath and cupped his fists towards Su-Yun. Young Master Su, are you all right? Luckily this expert came in time. I'm fine. Su-Yun here, I have to thank this almighty being. Su-Yun cupped his fists towards the brown-robed man and said. Mu Tian-Hao looked at the brown-robed man and frowned. Second brother, it's so late, why are you here? Second brother? So the brown-robed man was the patriarch Mu Tian-Hao's younger brother. Big brother, I just happened to pass by, and heard the sounds of fighting, so I came over to take a look. I never thought that there would be people causing trouble in my Mu family, so I lent a hand. Luckily the guest is not injured. It's truly a blessing. The brown-robed man revealed a relieved look, and wiped the sweat off his forehead. Is that so? Mu Tian-Hao's face was extremely calm. He stared at the brown-robed middle-aged man for a moment. The man lowered his head and did not say a word. After a long while, Mu Tian-Hao waved his hand and said, Pass down the order, arrange for elite guards to guard the place where the guest is resting tonight. Let's put this matter aside for now. Wait for Mu Yu to find out the reason, then we will make a decision. With that, Mu Tian-Hao was about to leave. Wait, big brother. Just then, the brown-robed man suddenly spoke. What's wrong, second brother? Mu Tian-Hao looked at him. Big brother, I heard that the guest is going to Electric Wood Forest tomorrow to find the electric wood that can save nephew Feng's life. I wonder if that's true? If that's true, as Feng Er's second uncle, I would like to show my sincerity, and follow the guest to Electric Wood Forest tomorrow. I hope big brother will allow it. The brown-robed man cupped his fists and said. Mu Tian-Hao stared at him, his lips trembled for a while, and said, No need, second brother, Electric Wood Forest is too dangerous. The guest has a special way to get the electric wood. I'm worried if you go, it's better that you stay here. With that, he did not care about the brown-robed man, and turned to leave. Su-Yun glanced at the brown-robed man, and lowered his head to think about something. The storm ended very quickly. The 4 assassins were dead, and there was no evidence. Mu Yu could not find anything even if he wanted to investigate. He only knew that the 4 of them were invited spirit cultivators, not the Mu family, so there were no more clues. After Su Yun returned to his room, Mu Tianhao's elite guards arrived, a total of 20 10th stage Spirit Core disciple experts, equipped luxuriously, with treasures all over their bodies. They were probably the core strength of the Mu family. With these guards, Su Yun naturally had no worries, and returned to his room to train. But after sitting in the room for a while, the profound spirit qi in his body started to stir. Su Yun knew he was about to break through, and immediately held his breath, concentrating all his attention on the qi channels in his body. It seemed that the monarch occult force had a certain increase in cultivation. Su Yun felt that the spirit essences and qi channels, as compared to before, had a huge change. The qi channels were tougher, and the spirit essences were more open. So. The surging qi leaked out from the spirit essences, and started to flow through the qi channels. The monarch occult force in his heart and the everlasting stone in front of his chest blossomed with light, and a pale white qi penetrated through the roof, and rushed into the clouds. The surrounding elite guards all turned to look, and looked at the house in the middle. Chapter 165. Noon of the second day. Su Yun kept all the things that the Mu family had prepared into his storage ring. Then, under Mu Tianhao's escort, he rode the purple-horned beast out of Muchong City and headed towards the electric wood forest 200 miles north of the city. To ensure the safety of the journey, Mu Tianhao sent the 20 elite guards that protected Su Yun the night before to accompany him. Su Yun did not know who Mu Tianhao was guarding against, but he knew that the Mu family was much deeper than he had imagined. Quickly retrieving the electric wood and leaving was the best course of action. He did not want to get involved. As they neared the electric wood forest, everyone felt a surge of electricity rushing towards them. Their hair stood on end and the muddy water started to feel numb. It was strange. Everyone activated their profound spirit qi and covered their bodies to resist the electricity. After passing through the grassy plains, it was the gigantic electric wood forest. Although this electric wood forest was the smallest in the southern continent, it was still bigger than a few Marshall Bone mountain ranges. If there was no lightning, people might get lost in there. As they neared the plains, the elite guards stopped in their tracks. "Young Master Su, the electric wood forest is just ahead. We will wait here for your good news. We wish young Master Su a successful mission and a triumphant return." The leader of the elite guards cupped his fists and said, "Triumphant return is for sure. But retrieving the electric wood will require a lot of time. It might take up to a month. If I run out of supplies, please prepare some for me." After Su Yun finished, he rode the purple-horned beast towards the electric wood forest that was filled with thunder and lightning. The sky above the electric wood forest was shrouded in dark clouds all year round. Every tree was glowing with blue light, and snake-like electric currents were jumping around their bodies. The whole forest was like a spider web, densely packed and terrifying. From time to time, the dark clouds in the sky would strike down thick red lightning, striking into the forest and exploding into circles of lightning ripples. If a person came into contact with these lightning ripples, if his or her cultivation was too low to withstand it, he or she would be killed in an instant. In the less serious cases, they would be left with a whole corpse, but in the more serious cases, not even their ashes would be left. When they were just a few meters away from the electric wood forest, the purple-horned beast did not dare to move forward anymore. It paced back and forth restlessly. No matter how Su Yun urged it, it did not move forward. Su Yun got down from the purple-horned beast and took out Thousand Deep sword from the sword sheath. Then, he took out the death sword from his storage ring and walked towards the electric wood forest. After a series of battles, the death sword had gradually acknowledged itself, and it was not difficult to pull it out. Of course, it would only be willing to be unsheathed during a battle. If it was in the past, it would be extremely difficult to pull it out. Once the death sword was unsheathed, it would definitely see blood. As he neared the electric wood forest, he heard a rumbling sound. A few bolts of lightning struck towards Su Yun like venomous snakes. Su Yun anxiously swung his 1,000-deep sword and attacked. The pure divine spirit chi that was augmented by the monarch occult force flew over and struck the lightning bolt, shattering it. The monarch occult force was truly a divine object. It was extremely practical. All sorts of chi could counter each other. Frigid aqua chi countered scarlet sun chi, scarlet sun countered life spirit chi countered swift wind spirit chi, swift wind countered true divine spirit chi countered frigid aqua chi. However, the monarch occult force that was augmented with the 5 elemental chi combined all the advantages of the 5 attribute. That also meant that no matter what the enemy was using, they would all be countered by the monarch occult force. Although the monarch occult force was augmented with the 5 main attributes of pure divine spirit chi, it had its drawback. That was the huge consumption. Right now, when Su Yun activated his pure divine spirit chi, the consumption was 2 to 3 times that of the past. A powerful sword technique like the hurricane sword technique could only be used 3 times at most, and the duration of the first form of the Limitless sword manual to control the flying sword was much shorter than usual. He stood in the electric wood forest and stared at the flashing lightning in front of him. From his storage ring, he took out the items that he had prepared previously. Electricity insulating necklace, a purple rank earth-level treasure. Inside, there was a small electricity insulating array that could be activated with profound spirit chi. After activating it, the small array would expand and the range would increase, forming a barrier around the user to isolate the lightning. This necklace was mostly used to deal with people who were proficient in using lightning mystical technique. After all, lightning-type mystical techniques were different from other mystical technique. Profound spirit chi was hard to defend against. Once struck, the user's body would be paralyzed, and he would be in danger. After the electricity insulating necklace was activated, the electricity in the surroundings was greatly reduced. But it could only defend against some of the weaker electricity current. It was still difficult to defend against a strong electric current. Su Yun took out a huge piece of parchment from his storage ring and quickly laid it on the ground. On the parchment was a life-restoring array drawn by the Mu family. This array was made with the best materials. Once a person enters the array, he would be able to quickly recover his damaged body and replenish his lost blood. It was similar to the healing array that was set up by the various sects on Wu Shuangju Peak. But this was slightly inferior. Su Yun only had 3 of them. After the array was completed, Su Yun stood by the side of the array and scanned his surroundings. This was just the outer area of the electric wood forest. The lightning was not ferocious and there were no trees with electric wood. He was unable to obtain electric wood. He could only go deeper into the forest to find those rare items. But if he wanted to go deeper, with Su Yun's current cultivation, even if he had the monarch occult force and the everlasting stone, he would definitely die. Even a spirit soul disciple would find it hard to go deeper. Furthermore, according to what he heard previously, going deeper was equivalent to courting death. He calmed his mind and concentrated on observing everything around him. Suddenly, Swayla! A bolt of lightning flew over and chased after the back of his head. Su Yun tensed up. Twisting his body, he slashed his sword horizontally. The ferocious sword chi surged over and directly destroyed the lightning. Boom! Another bolt of lightning struck. The death sword left his hands. Activating the Limitless sword manual, the sword spun and circled to his side. Dang 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 dang. Su Yun quickly formed a hand seal and activated his pure divine spirit chi to control the death sword to block the incoming lightning. After the lightning was blocked, it became more and more ferocious and frequent. Su Yun did not hesitate anymore. He threw out the 1,000 deep sword and controlled both swords to block. After about an hour, Su Yun was panting. His gaze was calm as he stared at his surroundings. As expected, it's getting more and more frequent. Seems like the rumor is true. Su Yun took a deep breath and continued to control his swords. His entire body's qi channels were frantically draining. But as time passed, he started to feel weak. After taking a few lightning strikes, his body was injured. He anxiously stood in the middle of the array. As he recovered from his injuries, he continued to block. At this moment, regardless of whether it was the lightning or the two swords, they could not calm down. The two of them clashed nonstop. Large amounts of lightning that were dispersed by the swords spread out in ripples, rendering the entire place extremely beautiful. Finally, after 14 hours, his qi channels were exhausted. Su Yun had no choice but to retreat from the electric wood forest and retreat to the outer area. Look, he's out. The elite guards of the Mu family who were guarding outside all ran over. Young master, did you manage to obtain the electric wood? The leader of the elite guards bowed and asked. In less than a day's time, how can I obtain the electric wood? How can the electric wood be so easy to obtain? Su Yun, who had exhausted his qi, took out some pills from his bag and said to the elite guards, the strength of the electric wood forest has exceeded my expectations. My supplies might not be enough. Go back to the Mu family and get me more pills and qi arrays. Take as much as you can. The elite guards had a troubled look on their faces. Su Yun's face turned serious. Why? Don't you want to save your young master? Of course not, we'll do it now. The elite guards did not dare to delay. 7 of them rode their purple-horned beasts towards Mu Chong City. Su Yun stayed outside to treat his injuries, recover his qi and recharge his energy. After an hour, he carried his sword and entered again. Actually, there was another reason why he came to help the Mu family obtain the electric wood. That was to train his swordsmanship. In Su Yun's memory, in the northern region of Sky Martial Continent, there was a fierce beast called the Swift Ape. The Swift Ape was only the size of a hunting dog, but its speed was extremely fast. It was as swift as the wind, and it was hard for ordinary people to catch it. Because of its speed and strength, many cultivators who trained in swift wind spirit qi used it as an opponent to train their profound spirit qi, reaction speed and accuracy. Referring to fast things to practice faster moves was a very primitive method of cultivation. But, no matter how fast the Swift Ape was, could it be faster than lightning? With the everlasting stone and the limitless sword manual as the foundation, why not train in the electric wood forest that was filled with lightning? With the financial support of the Mu family, it was much easier to train. A normal person's year's worth of training could be completed within a month. The stronger he was, the easier it would be for him to obtain the remaining materials. Looking at Su Yun's figure disappearing into the electric wood forest, the elite guards continued to wait outside. But a day later, Su Yun ran out with his face covered in dirt. Young Master Su Yun, did you obtain the electric wood? The leader ran over to ask. Nope. Su Yun mumbled and continued to sit cross-legged. He started to heal his injuries and did not say anything else. The elite guards were stunned. They were even more suspicious. It had been 2 days and he had not obtained a single piece of electric wood. Was he actually retrieving the electric wood? Or could it be that he could not retrieve it at all? After an hour, Su Yun stood up again and ran in with his sword. The elite guards saw and continued to wait outside. This time, it was longer than the previous 2 times. He lasted for a full day and a half before he came out. But he still exhausted his profound spirit qi and suffered many injuries. Young Master Su Yun, did you obtain the electric wood? Nope. Su Yun continued to reply and closed his eyes to heal his injuries. After his injuries were mostly healed, Su Yun stood up and continued to enter with his sword. The elite guards looked at each other. Finally, all of their gazes landed on the leader of the elite guards. Let's wait a while more. The leader took a deep breath. No one spoke. This time, Su Yun lasted for a full 2 days. Then he ran out. But now, the injuries on his body were getting lesser and lesser. He was no longer in a sorry state. Looking at his panting, it seemed like he had exhausted his profound spirit chi and had no choice but to come out. Master Su Yun, nope. Before the captain could finish his sentence, Su Yun had already spoken a word. The elite guards. Su Yun did not look at them. He reached into his storage ring and took out some pills. But after half a day, he had finished all the pills. Where are the supplies that I asked you to prepare? It's here. An elite guard walked over and took out the items from his storage ring. Not bad. But these are not enough. Continue to get more. I estimate that we need 4 more. Su Yun kept the supplies and continued to swallow the pills to recover. After he had recovered, he stood up and walked towards the electric wood forest. Send someone to report this to the Patriarch. We can't go on like this. The leader of the Jing Guards sighed and said, Yes, leader. Chapter 166. What? It's been 7 days and Su Yun hasn't even gotten a single electric wood? In the main hall, Mu Tianhao was holding on to a cup of spirit tea as he looked at the elite guard who came to report. Yes, Patriarch. Not only that, Su Yun has already used up 2 million spirit coins worth of supplies. From what he said, it seems like he will continue to add more. Conservatively speaking, within a month, our Mu family will use up close to 7 million spirit coins. As an aristocratic family of soul stone, the Mu family was not lacking in money. Creating a soul stone would require an astronomical amount of money. In the entire mystical mountain range, or maybe even the surrounding regions, if the Mu family were to compare their wealth, no one would be able to compete with them. However, it was 7 million spirit coins. Mu Tianhao frowned. Even if it was the Mu family, it would be a huge blow. Su Yun is using the best supplies, the best pills and arrays. Every single item is precious. Now, many people in the residence are running around the entire Mu Chong city to gather these expensive supplies for him. Patriarch, I think if we continue like this, we will end up with nothing. Furthermore, it will be a waste of manpower and resources. The gains do not make up for the losses. The elite guard lowered his head and cupped his fist. Mu Tianhao lowered his head and pondered. After a long while, he raised his head and asked, Then do you think we should give up now? We have no choice but to do this. The elite guard said. Then can you cure young master? This. The elite guard's face was filled with difficulty. Mu Tianhao saw this and snorted. Since Su Yun is so arrogant, we should believe him. There's nothing we can do. Furthermore, we have already spent so much money on him. If we let him come back now, don't tell me we are letting all these go to waste? The elite guard lowered his head and remained silent. Mu Tianhao waved his hand and said indifferently, Satisfy all of Su Yun's needs. I don't care what he is doing. I just want his answer. I will only give him a month's time. After a month, if he cannot obtain 100 electric wood or delay the treatment of my son's injuries, I will make him pay for everything. Yes, Patriarch. You may leave. Mu Tianhao said tiredly. I will take my leave. The elite guard bowed respectfully and retreated out of the room. Leaving the Mu family, the elite guard rode on the purple-horned beast and rushed towards the electric wood forest to meet up with the other elite guards. Seeing that the messenger had returned from his family, the elite guards rushed over. Hey, you're finally here. The leader of the Jing Guards took a few steps forward and asked sternly, What did the Patriarch say? The elite guard called Mu Chao glanced at the crowd, shook his head and sighed. Master wants us to continue. What? Continue? It's already been a few days, but this person only knows how to ask for items from us. He can't even take out a single thing that we want. Is he toying with us? No one dares to take our stone soul aristocratic family as a joke. Unless he wants to have a taste of the soul stone. The leader of the Jing guards looked solemn as he said in a low voice, "Everyone, we will guard here and wait for him patiently. Young Master Feng's injuries are severe and he won't be able to hold on for long. He will only be in this electric wood forest for about 30 days. If he still can't take out a piece of electric wood in 30 days, we will capture him and bring him back to the Mu clan for interrogation." "All right." All the elite guards nodded their heads in agreement. In the dark, a few pairs of eyes were looking at them. Inside the electric wood forest, swoosh, 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 a large number of swords moved. The lightning that came from all directions seemed to have met with a wall of swords. When they got close to the man in black, they were all cut into pieces. It was impossible to hurt him at all. Awesome! Su Yun, who was controlling the 1,000-deep sword and death sword to block the lightning around him, shouted in his heart. His movements of controlling the two swords became faster and more skillful. Based on his current strength, controlling 3 to 4 swords should not be a problem. It was time to retrieve the sword from the sword sheath. Su Yun thought as he slashed the long and narrow blue lightning in front of him. Boom! Just then, a deafening sound of thunder came from the sky. He looked up and saw that in the dark clouds above him, a few blood-red lightning bolts were rolling. Red lightning! Su Yun's expression turned serious. Compared to the messy lightning around him, the power of the red lightning in the sky was like a whale in the ocean. Boom! Another loud sound came from the dark clouds. Following that, a red lightning descended from the sky and struck Su Yun's head. Like a falling red dragon, it was fast and agile. That brilliant lightning was fierce and frightening. Anyone who saw it would have goosebumps and shiver all over. Su Yun clenched his teeth and waved both his hands. The 1,000-deep sword and death sword that were revolving around him converged together. Both swords pointed upwards and rushed forward to meet the attack. Swoosh! Boom! Both swords were struck by lightning. A thick and violent explosion sounded out. Large amounts of lightning shot out in all directions like blooming flowers. It was extremely gorgeous. The people outside the electric wood forest watched from afar. They saw the red lightning in the sky entering the forest, and there was an unusual sound. What's going on? Not sure. The elite guards were confused. In the forest, Su Yun was still trying his best to resist the red lightning with his two swords. The profound spirit qi in his body was like a broken water pipe. It flowed non-stop towards the two swords. This was not the tribulation lightning, but it was a test for Su Yun. He clenched his teeth. His qi channels were swollen. All the veins in his body were protruding. His Blade Master robe was tight. It was as though it was going to explode at any moment. Suddenly, Su Yun took a deep breath. He waved both his arms and loosened his teeth. With a roar, pure divine spirit qi burst out of his body like a dam. It poured out in torrents and rushed towards both swords. Both swords trembled and let out a buzzing sound. Finally, with a clang, the red lightning was torn apart. The lightning was diverted away by the swords and flung towards the two electric trees on both sides. Boom! The electric trees were struck by the lightning. The brutal destructive power broke the trees and two of them fell. But at this moment, a slender and agile figure came out from behind one of the trees and started to revolve around Su Yun. Su Yun fixed his eyes on it. It was an existence that looked like a cat, but was the size of a calf. This existence was covered in blue fur and was wrapped in electricity. Its eyes were blue, and its limbs were long and slender. Its tail, in particular, was like a bolt of lightning, full of intelligence and charm. Thunder Spirit. This must be the Thunder Spirit that those people were talking about. Su Yun was overjoyed. He immediately rushed out and ran towards the Thunder Spirit. The reason why the lightning in the electric wood forest would attack people was because of the attraction between the person and the lightning. But when Su Yun attacked the lightning, he realized that the lightning was getting more and more frequent. This was not because of the attraction between the lightning and the person, but because of the lightning spirit. The rumor said that there was a special spirit beast in the electric wood forest. That was the Thunder Spirit. The Thunder Spirit could control all the lightning in the electric wood forest. When people entered the electric wood forest, most of them would be attacked by the Thunder Spirit. They controlled the lightning and attacked the people who invaded their territory. They were merciless, and the frequency of the attacks was getting faster and faster. At the beginning, it was just a warning, but at the end, it was fatal. Of course, the Thunder Spirit was the key to obtaining the electric wood. It was also the only way for people to explore the electric wood forest. Without its help, no matter who it was, they would not be able to survive in the sea of lightning. Ma! The Thunder Spirit rushed towards Su Yun and screamed, as though it was warning him of something. Little brat! Su Yun's mouth curled up into a smile. Suddenly, he took a step forward and rushed over. Ma! The Thunder Spirit's cries became even more ferocious. When Su Yun neared, its body immediately moved. Like a bolt of lightning, it revolved around Su Yun. Boom, boom, boom sounds came from the left and right. The electric trees started to sway, as though they were being blown by a strong wind. They swayed nonstop. The lightning that revolved around the trees seemed to be attracted by something. They uniformly rushed towards Su Yun. In all directions there was lightning. It was dense and there was no place to hide. Su Yun's eyes congealed. His chi surged and he waved his hand. Hiss, 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 hiss. The 5 types of pure divine spirit chi spread out with him as the center. Then, the 1,000 deep sword and death sword returned at the same time. They followed the trajectory of the pure divine spirit chi and revolved. Hualala! The 2 swords revolved crazily. Like a hurricane, it enveloped Su Yun. All the lightning in the surroundings were dispersed. Not a single one touched his body. Seeing that, the Thunder Spirit retreated a few steps. In this period of time, he had been using the lightning as a medium to train his speed and accuracy. This resulted in a significant improvement in his hurricane sword technique. He was able to control both swords at the same time. His power had increased by quite a bit. Of course, the difficulty had also increased. After all, he had to ensure that the 2 swords would not collide. This was a test of his eyesight. If it was easy, Su Yun would not dare to use the hurricane sword technique. But now that the situation was urgent, he could not care less. After dispersing the lightning, Su Yun immediately controlled both swords and pierced towards the Thunder Spirit. Seeing that the lightning was useless against Su Yun, the Thunder Spirit was so scared that all the hair on its body stood up. Bang, 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 the 2 swords chased closely behind. They chopped down a large number of electric trees, creating a trail of debris. Boom! The lightning struck again. Su Yun dodged to the side and avoided it. But he did not relax his control over the sword. Without the protection of the swords, he had to end the battle quickly. Otherwise, his own body of flesh and blood would not be able to withstand a few strikes from the lightning. The Thunder Spirit knew that Su Yun was powerful. He immediately rushed into the depths of the electric wood forest. The lightning in the depths of the electric wood forest was many times stronger than the outside. The Thunder Spirit could control the lightning. Once it entered the depths of the electric wood forest, Su Yun would have no chance of winning. He took a deep breath and stared at the escaping Thunder Spirit. Suddenly, he waved both of his hands. His left and right hands separated. The pure divine spirit chi of the 2 swords instantly separated from the swords and turned into chi swords. Heaven-splitting sword technique. Voila! 4 swords rushed forward and quickly pierced in front of the Thunder Spirit. The 4 swords split into 4 directions and blocked the Thunder Spirit fiercely. It was completely sealed. The Thunder Spirit was so scared that its skin and flesh were trembling. Its hair stood up. Its body curled up and it did not dare to escape anymore. Seeing that, Su Yun heaved a sigh of relief. He hurriedly ran forward. Chapter 167. This time, after entering, The elite guards who were guarding outside did not see Su Yun walking out from the terrifying electric wood forest. After waiting for a few days, he was nowhere to be seen. On the contrary, the dark clouds in the sky above the electric wood forest were constantly releasing red lightning into the forest. The electric wood forest was like a pot of boiling water. Thunder and lightning were everywhere, and it was extremely turbulent. The lightning was extremely fierce, and all kinds of electric dragons and thunder snakes were dancing in the air. It was a spectacular scene. "Step back, don't get hurt by the lightning." The leader of the elite guards shouted, and the entire team started to retreat. Everyone looked at the magical forest in front of them, their eyes filled with awe. "Captain, that guy wouldn't have died in there, right?" An elite guard turned his head and asked. "Don't jump to conclusions." The leader of the elite guards pondered for a while and said, "Since he dared to come and retrieve the electric wood, it means that he has some abilities. You are not allowed to retrieve it now." "Oh right, how many days has he been in there?" "From the first day we came here? That rascal has been here for a total of 31 days. "Oh? That means it has been a month?" The leader of the Jing guards said indifferently, "The Patriarch only gave us a month's time. Young Master's injuries are severe, we can't delay any longer. Wait for him to come out. If he still comes out empty-handed, everyone, don't say any more and bring him back to see the Patriarch." "Yes, leader," the rest of the elite guards shouted. "Leader, what if he dies in there? We won't know if he dies. We can't just wait here foolishly, right?" Another elite guard spoke up at this time. "Die in there?" The leader frowned. "If he really died in there, it would be troublesome." Dong 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 dong. Just at this time, a series of rumbling sounds came out. Everyone looked up and saw the electric light in the middle of the electric wood forest. The dazzling light shot out, and then there were a few explosions. A large amount of electric ripples spread out like a flower. No one knew what was happening at the other end. "We will wait here for another 10 days. After 10 days, if that person does not come out, we will report to the Patriarch and let him choose another way to treat young Master Feng. We can wait, but young Master can't." The captain no longer hesitated. He looked at the explosion site and said, "Instead of placing our hopes on this unrealistic person, why don't we work hard ourselves? Perhaps young Master Feng can still be saved." "Yes. Then let's wait a little longer." Everyone nodded and made their decision. Right at this moment, someone cried out in alarm. "Captain, look! It seems like someone is coming out." "What?" The leader of the Jing guards tensed up, and hurriedly took a few steps forward to look in the direction of the electric wood forest, only to see a person carrying a black long sword on his back, carrying a long sword sheath, walking towards them. And beside him, there seemed to be another figure. The captain was stunned. "Are there any other existences in the electric wood forest?" he asked. "Captain, what are you talking about? There was electricity everywhere. How could there be any living thing alive? What kind of person could be so carefree amidst so much lightning?" Someone said. But soon, everyone saw that figure. "What kind of beast is that?" Everyone was stunned. The person with the sword sheath squatted down and touched the spirit creature's head a few times. The spirit creature let out a sharp cry, then turned and rushed into the electric wood forest, quickly disappearing. "What's going on?" the captain muttered. Then, the person walked out of the electric wood forest. Everyone stared at his face. It was Su Yun. "Young Master Su!" The captain hurriedly ran over and cupped his fists. "Sorry to keep you waiting." Su Yun smiled. The captain sized up Su Yun's body seriously. Seeing that there was not a single wound on him, he was shocked and his eyes widened. "He came out from the electric wood forest unscathed? May I ask, young Master Su, what is your cultivation level?" Because of the heavenly scale divine eye, the captain who was at the first stage of the spirit soul realm could not see through Su Yun's cultivation level. "He's just a lowly existence that has not even reached the spirit core disciple realm." Su Yun laughed. That's impossible, the captain exclaimed. If his cultivation level is not high, how can he come out alive after entering the electric wood forest? The group of elite guards did not believe him. He was simply being humble. He was pretending. Even if he spoke the truth, no one would believe him. Su Yun decided not to say any more. Actually, the key to obtaining the electric wood was the Thunder Spirit. It had nothing to do with cultivation level. The Thunder Spirit was the master of the electric wood forest. If people wanted to obtain the electric wood, they had to lure it out from the outer perimeter. The reason why Su Yun practiced his sword at the outer perimeter was firstly to increase his cultivation level. Secondly, it was to lure it out. After that, he had to capture the Thunder Spirit and use it to open a path for him into the depths of the electric wood forest to obtain the wood. With the help of the Thunder Spirit, most of the lightning in the depths would be diverted away. Hence, he did not have to worry about being struck by lightning and could easily obtain the wood. Many people thought that the electric wood forest was dangerous because they did not understand the electric wood forest. They did not even know about the existence of the Thunder Spirit. Young Master Su, have you obtained all the electric wood? Just then, one of the elite guards recovered from his shock and asked. Yes, I have. A total of 100 of them. All done. Su Yun laughed. Really? The leader of the elite guards hesitated for a while. Then, he cupped his fists and bowed. Young Master Su, please take out this rare item and let us see it. This was to confirm if Su Yun was speaking the truth. But Su Yun shook his head. I can't take it out now. When we reach the Mu family, you will naturally see it. All right, everyone, let's go back. After that, Su Yun walked away. The elite guards looked at each other in confusion. Let's go back first. If he is just bluffing and lying to us, he will suffer. The leader of the elite guards looked at everyone and said softly. Then, he followed Su Yun. A group of people got on their mounts and flew towards the Mu family. And in the dark, the pair of eyes that had been staring at them left quickly. Along the way, Su Yun did not say a word. He just kept on taking the medicine and qi to recover. He seemed to be preparing for something. The leader of the elite guards looked at him frequently. He had a look of hesitation. Until they reached a hill not far from Muchong City. It was not long before they reached Muchong City. The sun was setting. There was no one around. The hill was steep and it looked a little desolate. Stop! Su Yun pulled the purple-horned beast under him and suddenly shouted. The elite guards pulled on their mount. Master Su, what's wrong? The leader of the elite guards asked. Su Yun's expression was solemn. He looked around carefully. Then, he shouted, Prepare for battle! What? The elite guards did not understand. But the leader of the elite guards did not say anything. He knew that there might be a situation. He shouted, Take out your weapons and prepare for battle. Clang, 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 the elite guards took out their weapons. Just as they took out their weapons, there was a sudden ripple on the hill. Then, a large number of masked people rushed out. There were more than 50 of them. Once they appeared, they immediately rushed over. The killing intent that they had been hiding suddenly exploded. This is the invisibility technique. Not good. There's an ambush. The leader of the elite guards roared. Protect Master Su. They must be here to snatch the electric wood. The elite guards moved in a flash. All of them took out their treasures and displayed their mystical technique. With Su Yun as the center, they formed a formation. It had to be said that these were the elite guards of the Mu family. They were extremely sharp in adapting to sudden situations. In a blink of an eye, Su Yun's front and back were sealed. No matter which direction the enemy attacked from, they would not be able to hurt Su Yun. Kill. On the other side of the hill, a man wearing a bamboo hat raised his butcher's knife and shouted. Everyone rushed forward with all their might. Roar! A large number of white beast spirits appeared in front of the elite guards. With a ferocious aura, they rushed towards the incoming enemies. Soul Stone Technique. How could these people who came from the Mu family not know about this mystical technique? The soul stones that suddenly appeared rushed forward. Like fierce beasts, they grabbed onto people and bit them. Each of them were like real beasts. Facing so many soul stones, the masked people were not afraid. Since they came to stop the elite guards of the Mu family, they were prepared. All of them took out their fire attribute treasures and spat out flames to burn the soul stones. The soul stones were most afraid of electricity, followed by fire. There were not many electric-type treasures in the market. To get a batch of them was extremely difficult and expensive. Fire-type treasures were the first choice. But the elite guards did not show any weakness. They rode on the soul stones and retreated. They rushed forward and fought with the group of people. Su Yun rode on his unicorn and looked at them. His eyes flashed. No one knew what he was thinking. At this moment, in the Mu residence of Mu Chong City, a servant was rushing towards the main hall in a panic. Master! Master! Bad news! Bad news! The servant scrambled into the main hall and shouted anxiously. Looking at his expression, it was as though the sky had collapsed. Mu Tianhao, who was drinking tea in the main hall, frowned. He looked at the servant and asked, "What happened?" The servant bowed and shouted anxiously, "Master, young Master Su Yun has successfully obtained the electric wood. But they are outside the city. They were ambushed by the thieves. The elite guards of the Mu family have suffered heavy losses. Young Master Su Yun is unable to withstand the attacks of the thieves. I'm afraid he won't be able to hold on for long." Clang! The teacup in Mu Tianhao's hand fell to the ground and broke into pieces. He stood up abruptly. His eyes widened as he stood up and asked, "Is what you said true?" "Absolutely true, Master. Hurry up and take action. If not, young Master Su Yun will be killed and the electric wood will be stolen. Young Master Feng will be finished," the servant cried. "Quick!" Mu Tianhao did not dare to delay. He shouted, "Quickly get the butler to gather all the guards. Inform all the deacons and elders. Follow me out of the city to provide support. Quick!" "Yes, Master," the servant replied anxiously. With that, he bowed and retreated. But the moment he retreated from the door, his mouth revealed a smile that was hard to catch. Chapter 168. After leaving the main hall, the servant carefully slipped into the back hall. He turned a few corners, passed through many long corridors, and arrived at an exquisite building at the back of the Mu residence. Standing in front of the building, the servant knelt down on both knees and shouted, "I am Zhang Chong Shun, here to report to Second Master." Creak! The door opened, and a middle-aged man dressed in a brown robe walked out. His expression was solemn, his eyes deep. As he walked out of the building, he rushed to Zhang Chong Shun and asked, "Is everything done?" Zhang Chong Shun raised his head and answered, "It's done, Second Master. Mu Tianhao has already brought half of the experts of the Mu family to support Su Yun outside the city. Now the strength of the Mu residents should be very weak. It's the best time to strike." "Very good." Second Master Mu's eyes lit up and he shouted, "This opportunity has been prepared for a long time, and now it's finally ripe. Now, gather everyone and head straight to the Mu family's forbidden grounds. Quick!" "Yes, Second Master," Zhang Chong Shun said anxiously and quickly ran off. Second Master Mu's face darkened, and stepped out of the building, heading towards the Mu family's forbidden grounds. Very quickly, behind him, a large number of well-equipped Mu family guards, equipped with killing treasures, followed. There were more than 100 of them, and their killing intent soared as they headed towards the Mu family's forbidden grounds. The Mu family's forbidden grounds sealed a large number of failed soul stones, and was also the burial place of the ancestors of the Mu family. Other than Mu Tianhao, no one else was allowed to enter. The guards of the forbidden grounds were personally chosen by Mu Tianhao, and there were 6 of them, all loyal to the Mu family. But with just these 6 people, they definitely could not stop Second Master Mu. The Forbidden Grounds was located at the back mountain of the Mu family, and it was empty all around. Anyone who came near, the guards of the Forbidden Grounds could easily sense it. Second Master Mu led a large group of people here, and without saying a word, he directly ordered everyone to kill. The guards of the Forbidden Grounds could not fight against four hands, and very quickly, they died in the hands of Second Master Mu. Rush in. Follow me to retrieve the Soul Stone. Second Master Mu growled and took the lead, charging into the forbidden area. The failed Soul Stones that were wandering in the Forbidden Grounds were startled by these intruders. This place was like an Azura hell. There were the souls of ferocious beasts and demon beasts everywhere. They were failed products, their attacks were not strong, or their soul power was incomplete, they were no longer suitable for battle. The Mu family placed them in this place for them to rest. After all, if the Soul Stones ran around, they would only disturb the living and bring trouble to the Mu family. Storing them in the Forbidden Grounds was the most suitable method. If the Soul Stones could not bear the loneliness, they could self-destruct. However, there were some abandoned Soul Stones sealed in the forbidden area, but there were also some extremely ferocious Soul Stones that were hard to control. The Divine Soul Stone was one of them. The Mu family was an aristocratic family of Soul Stone, and the Soul Stone technique had been passed down for an unknown period of time. In the long history of the Mu family's Soul Stone technique, there was a cruel and ruthless patriarch. He took his father's soul and used the Soul Stone technique to refine it into a special Soul Stone, called the Divine Soul Stone, the God of Soul Stones. Using a human soul to refine a Soul Stone was a taboo for Soul Stone masters, and it was also a taboo for the people of Sky Martial Continent. Once they did that, how different were they from demons? Thus, this vicious patriarch died of depression under the condemnation and suppression of the public. However, this Divine Soul Stone that he had refined became the strongest Divine Soul Stone in the history of the Mu clan, and was coveted by countless Soul Stone masters. Mu Tian Hao's cultivation level is much higher than mine. To replace him as the patriarch of the Mu family, I can only rely on the Divine Soul Stone. With this item, I will be able to move unhindered under the heavens, and be invincible. The position of the Mu family patriarch will be within my reach. Second Master Mu brought his men and quickly walked into the forbidden area. This place was like a man-made cave, the surrounding walls were engraved with patterns of blue light, and in the center, there was a golden platform that was watered with golden water. On the golden platform, there was a dark blue fist-sized stone, and on the stone, there was a human-shaped pattern. And around the stone, the abandoned Soul Stones did not dare to go near. Divine Soul Stone! Seeing that, Second Master Mu became excited, and his eyes were filled with a passion that could not be extinguished. He took a step forward and walked towards it. Chi! The dark blue stone was picked up by Second Master Mu, and he immediately imbued it with profound spirit chi, and could not wait to build a bridge with it and make it his. But, just as the profound spirit chi was imbued, the dark blue stone suddenly broke, and a wisp of smoke leaked out from the crack. Second Master Mu was stunned, and his face changed. It's fake! The people who followed Second Master Mu were all stunned. That's right, it's fake. Just at this time, a clear voice came out. Second Master Mu quickly turned back, and saw a group of people blocking the entrance of the Forbidden Grounds. These people were the deacon elders of the Mu family, the elites and the experts who were in charge, and at the front of this group of people was the unconscious Mu Feng. Impossible! Second Master Mu muttered, and stared blankly at Mu Feng, who was standing not far away, and said, Didn't you get the Soul Stone? Didn't you fail in practicing the Soul Stone technique, and got the backlash from the Soul Stone? How did you recover? Backlash from the Soul Stone? Mu Feng shook his head and laughed bitterly. Second uncle, why are you still lying to yourself? Don't tell me you still don't know who left the Soul Stone in my body? Second Master Mu's face changed rapidly. Second uncle, Many people in the Mu family know what you're thinking. Not to mention Father, even I am aware of it. You want to seize the position of patriarch, but the position of patriarch was personally appointed by grandfather to Father. Other than him, no one else can covet it. Why did you have such thoughts? Father's cultivation level is high, and he is guarding against you. You have no chance, so you thought of using the soul stone to strengthen yourself, and use absolute power to force Father to give up his position. But Father is always in the Mu family. If you force your way into the forbidden grounds to get it, you will not have a chance. You wanted to lure the tiger away from the mountain, and secretly attacked me, intentionally injuring me, forcing Father to go out to collect electric wood. The electric wood forest is filled with dangers. Other than an expert like Father who can safely enter and exit the electric wood forest, no one else can. I am Father's only son. He will definitely not sit by and watch me die. You also knew that if the people in the Mu family are unable to collect enough electric wood to heal my injuries, he will definitely go out to the electric wood forest, and that was your chance. But you did not expect that at this crucial moment, Su Yun would come. Not only did he come, he wanted to collect electric wood for the Mu family. This was completely out of your expectations. Su Yun has elite guards to protect him. You will not be able to kill him in a short period of time. Helpless, you could only send people to watch him, and wait for him to collect electric wood. Wait for an opportunity. When Su Yun has collected all the electric wood, he will return to the Mu family, and this is the opportunity you have been waiting for. You first sent people to the Mu family to inform my father, then sent people to ambush Su Yun, pretending to be extremely urgent, forcing Father to leave the Mu family to save him, and then you will take the opportunity to take the item, with the intention of taking over the position. But, sigh. Second uncle, the truth is, Father and I, even young Master Su Yun saw through your plan, didn't you know? Young Master Su Yun had actually returned to the Mu family a day ago, and used the electric wood to help me get rid of my injuries, then beat me at my own game, and returned to the Mu family. Around the elite guards, there were already many experts of the Mu family lying in ambush. The people you used to ambush are most likely dead. And in fact, after Father received Zhang Changshun's urgent report, he did not bring anyone to help. Second uncle, you saw it too, everyone is here. You just give in. Mu Feng said softly, his voice was a little hoarse. Second Uncle Mu was stunned. His eyes opened wide, and looked at Mu Feng and the people behind him. After a long time, he lowered his head and asked, "Where's Big Brother?" Father went to the ancestral hall to kowtow. Hearing that, Second Uncle Mu suddenly raised his head, his eyes revealing a fierce glint. "He wants to kill me." "Father will not kill you, you are his only brother, but he will not tolerate it. The only way now is to destroy your cultivation and imprison you." "Ha ha 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 ha, if that's the case, why not just kill me?" Second Uncle Mu's eyes were burning with fighting spirit. Obviously he would not give in so easily. "Before that, can I ask something?" "What else does Second Uncle have to say?" It's nothing." He threw the broken stones in his hands to the ground, his eyes flashed with unwillingness, and asked in a low voice, "Where is the real Divine Soul Stone?" "The real Divine Soul Stone was destroyed a long time ago," Mu Feng said indifferently. "That piece of Divine Soul Stone sealed the ancestor of our Mu family. How can it be preserved? If we do not bury it, then our Mu family is unfilial. All these years, Father has been searching for spirit power experts, and together they dispersed the ancestor's soul. Now that the Divine Soul Stone is no different from the stones you threw just now." When Second Uncle Mu heard, his face instantly turned pale. "Impossible, impossible." His lips trembled, and he started to mutter. Finally, this sudden news made him completely crazy. This was his only hope to surpass his own elder brother, but it actually dissipated like smoke. How could this be? Immediately, he roared in anger, rushed over, and struck towards Mu Feng. Hand over the divine soul stone. Although second Uncle Mu's cultivation level was not as high as Mu Tianhao, but his strength was really impressive. This attack was like a huge wave, and it made people uncomfortable. But the group of Mu family experts were not ordinary people. They all attacked and met second Uncle Mu. Very quickly, the two sides started fighting. But no matter how strong second Uncle Mu was, he was only one person. There was no way he could fight against these people. In less than an incense worth of time, his arms were chopped off, his cultivation level was destroyed, and he fell to the ground, unable to get up. Temporarily lock him in the dungeon, and wait for father to deal with him. Mu Feng said softly. Yes, young master. Everyone cupped their fists. The dying second Uncle Mu was quickly brought away. The chaos in the Mu family was settled. Su Yun, who had been watching from the side, turned and prepared to leave. The matter was settled, and the yin-yang soul stone powder was obtained. It was time to leave. Young Master Su Yun. Just then, Mu Feng chased over. Young Master Mu, is there anything else? Su Yun smiled and asked. This time, I really have to thank you. Mu Feng bowed respectfully to Su Yun, and bent his waist 90 degrees. Young Master Mu is too courteous. I took someone's money, so I helped them out. I did all this, just to get the yin-yang soul stone powder. My Mu family was the first to give the soul stone powder to young Master Su Yun. Young Master did not take it away, but stayed behind to help. It can be seen that young Master is a righteous person, and a worthy friend. But although this yin-yang soul stone powder is precious, it is mostly used to cultivate pills. Why? Young Master Su Yun, are you preparing to cultivate pills? Yes. If that's the case, Mu Feng has another ingredient here. Maybe young Master Su Yun can use it. He laughed, and took out 2 broken stones from his storage ring, and passed it to Su Yun. It was 2 pieces of broken stones that glowed with golden light. Under the sunlight, it emitted a circle of 7 colored ripples. It was very magical. Seeing this, Su Yun was stunned for a moment, and suddenly his face was filled with joy. This is the obsidian moonstone? Yes. This is also the material used to create the soul stone. Now that the soul stone is destroyed, I will give this material to you as a thank you gift. Mu Feng said. Chapter 169. The obsidian moonstone was the key to concocting the triple yang universe pill. It was the cornerstone of the entire pill. All the ingredients needed to be formed, changed, and refined. Without it, these ingredients could not be concocted. The obsidian moonstone would usually only appear in the Yin Moon grounds. It was extremely rare. Su Yun was most worried about collecting the obsidian moonstone because there was no technique to find it. There were no records in his memory either. He could only rely on luck and information. This kind of material was rarely seen in the big auction houses. But now, Mu Feng had gifted him 2 obsidian moonstones. It was a timely help because with this, Su Yun would have plenty of time. Of course, Su Yun was very clear of Mu Feng's motive. But at this moment, there was no time for pleasantries. Thank you. Su Yun took the obsidian moonstone and observed it carefully. After confirming that there were no mistakes, he carefully kept it in his storage ring. The one who should be thanking you should be the Mu family. Mu Feng laughed. Young Master Su has helped our Mu family time and time again. Our debt of gratitude is as deep as the ocean. This time, if young Master Su didn't make a move, our Mu family would have fallen into an unimaginable crisis. I was plotted against by second uncle and father was well aware of it. But after all, he is still his own brother. Even if he knew about it, he couldn't bear to do it and wouldn't make a move until the last moment. However, second uncle couldn't wait and made a move first. Father was in a deadlock. If he went to retrieve the electric wood, the Mu family would be in danger. If he didn't, I would die. Listening to Mu Feng's words, he seemed to know that Su Yun was Limitless Sword God. It's nothing. Furthermore, I am here this time to retrieve some soul stone powder. Mu Feng once again bowed to Su Yun and then said, "Pardon me for asking. Young master, what pill do you want to concoct? What other ingredients do you need? Mu Feng might be able to help." Su Yun's eyes lit up. Yes, the Mu family was rich and powerful. Maybe they had a way to gather the ingredient. This pill is rather rare. It's called the Triple Yang Universe Pill. Maybe young Master Mu has never heard of it. It's mainly made up of 4 ingredients. Currently, we're still lacking aqua meteorite and Wu Huang flower. Aqua meteorite? Wu Huang flower? Mu Feng murmured. He really felt that these 2 names were very unfamiliar. In the end, he shook his head helplessly. "I'm really sorry, young Master Su. Mu Feng is untalented and has never heard of these 2 items. However, Mu Feng will do everything in the Mu family to help young Master find these 2 items." Hearing that, Su Yun did not reveal any disappointment and said, "Young Master Mu is too courteous. To be able to gift the obsidian moonstone is already a great help to me, Su. Alright, it's getting late, I still have to find these 2 materials, so I won't stay any longer, goodbye. I'll send someone to send young Master off." "No need." Su Yun waved his hand, walked out of the door, rode his purple-horned beast and left. Mu Feng stood at the door and looked at the figure that was getting further and further away. He took a deep breath. "Young Master, this Su Yun? Who is it? Have we met before?" Mu Feng's servant asked curiously. "Yes, not only have we met before, he even saved my life." Mu Feng looked at him, then said, "Pass down the order, from now on, this young Master Su Yun is our Mu family's esteemed guest. No one is to stop him from entering or leaving our Mu family, just like Limitless Master." Understood. Leaving the Mu family, Su Yun headed west, left the mystical mountain range, and headed west towards the formidable region. Julian region was located in the center of the southern continent. In the entire southern continent, there were a total of 10 different regions, and the most important regions were Julian region, mystical mountain range, Great Cyan region, formidable region, Yellow Sand region, and the Jade Immortal region, which required one to have a certificate to enter. Other than these, there was the Long Ao Nation. Long Ao Nation was located right above the southern continent, occupying a large piece of land. Its territory was vast, and it was the strongest nation in the southern continent. The main sects in the formidable region were the 3 items Deity Palace and Smoky Wind Valley. But Su Yun's trip was not for these sects, but for a small nation in the formidable region, Great Empress Nation. The Great Empress Nation was not big, its territory was not even a tenth of the Long Ao Nation, but the land that the Great Empress Nation occupied was extremely fertile. The Great Empress Nation had the biggest plains and the biggest mines in the southern continent, and was the main source of materials for the southern continent to produce treasures and cultivate pills. Mu Feng had never heard of the Wu Huang flower, but it was rumored that the Great Empress Nation's king had obtained one, and even the aqua meteorite could be found. Su Yun thought and quickened his pace. After walking for an unknown period of time, the purple-horned beast followed the road and entered a barren mountain. He looked around, and felt that the barren mountain was somewhat familiar. After carefully observing the terrain, he realized that this was the Heavenly Dog Mountain that was not far from the formidable region. Heavenly Dog Mountain. Heavenly Dog Mountain, if this is the Heavenly Dog Mountain, does that mean that I am not far from the Spirit Cave on the Heavenly Dog Mountain? Su Yun suddenly thought of something, and hurriedly rode the purple-horned beast under him, and ran towards the mountain. The Heavenly Dog Mountain was just a barren mountain, there was not much vegetation on the mountain, and even the number of beasts was very few. But on the Heavenly Dog Mountain there was a natural cave dwelling. The cave dwelling was filled with spirit chi, and when people entered the cave to cultivate, their profound spirit chi recovery speed would increase by almost 100%. No one knew why the cave dwelling had such an effect, and even this cave, not many people knew about it. Some said that there was once a peerless martial artist who healed his wounds here, and his fresh blood spilled all over the cave dwelling, bestowing the cave dwelling with an unbelievable amount of spirit chi. Some said that the heavenly dog mountain was actually a gigantic dog, and this cave dwelling was the dog's spirit essence, and that was why it had such an effect. There were many different opinions, and no one knew who was right and who was wrong. Just nice, I can go to the cave dwelling to get the sword, Su-yun thought and ran towards the road in his memory. Very quickly, at the side of the cave, the heavenly dog cave dwelling that would become famous in the southern continent in a few years, entered Su-yun's eyes. Immediately, Su-yun rode the purple-horned beast and rushed in. Just as he entered the cave dwelling, he was enveloped by the profound spirit chi. All the chi channels in his body, and his spirit essence seemed to be gently caressed by the young lady's soft hands. It was extremely comfortable and refreshing. His spirit essence expanded, and all the chi channels were relaxed. This kind of feeling made him forget to return. Even the purple-horned beast under him let out a carefree low roar, and its huge body laid on the ground, and could not move any more. Su-yun flipped down his mount and walked into the cave dwelling. Realizing that there was no one here, and it was empty, he took out the materials from his bag, and set up an alarm array at the entrance of the cave. He let the purple-horned beast stand guard, and went deeper into the cave dwelling, and found an empty space. Then, he took out the limitless sword sheath, and activated it. Voila! The slender pitch-black sword sheath released waves of dazzling rays of light, and in front of him, it formed a light door that was as tall as a person. Su-yun took a deep breath, and looked at the light door. His heart was filled with melancholy. This time, there was no sword elder to accompany him, so he could only rely on himself. He took out the sword stone from his storage ring, looked at it, grabbed it, and stepped in. In front of him, there was a sudden white light door. It was so glaring that he could not open his eyes. After a while, the light door weakened. Su-yun opened his eyes and looked again, only to realize that he was no longer in the comfortable heavenly dog cave dwelling, but in the limitless sword sheath. Just that, he looked around him. What is this place? Su-yun was suspicious. This was not the long corridor where he took the death sword, engraved dragon blade, thousand deep sword, and the other swords, but another long flight of stairs. The flight of stairs was extremely long, and there were close to 10,000 of them, extending all the way up. At the end of the flight of stairs, there was a luxurious floating immortal palace. That was the place where the twin swords were hidden. And on the flight of stairs, there were countless of swords that were stabbed into the ground. Some were dazzling, some were dull and gray, some were evil and heavy, and some were overflowing with the aura of immortals. There were all sorts of divine swords. Just that, every single one of them was not easy to take. Wasn't this the greatest pain in life? There were so many exceptional swords, but he could only look at them and not touch them. It was not just an itch in his heart, it was simply unbearable. Forget it, I'll take them one by one. When my cultivation is high enough, I'll take the twin swords, and all of them will be mine. Su-yun was greedy, but he would not lose his rationality because of it. He calmed himself down, and stared at the fiery red sword on the flight of stairs not far away, and immediately stepped over. What are you doing? Just at this time, a soft and gentle voice entered his ears, like a gentle breeze from the sky. It was very pleasant to listen to. Su-yun's heart jumped like a bird startled by the twang of a bow. He anxiously looked around. Who is it? But the surroundings were empty, there was no one at all. Could it be a hallucination? Su-yun was suspicious. He turned his head and muttered, but just as he turned his head, a small face that was as exquisite as jade suddenly appeared in his eyes, and it was right in front of him. The two faces were separated by half a finger's distance, as though they could feel each other's breath. Su-yun's eyes widened. But very quickly, he hurriedly retreated, looking at the girl who suddenly appeared in front of him. The girl had an almost perfect oval face. Her hair was extremely long and hung down to her heels, but the color of her hair was pure white and flawless, like a waterfall that was gently blown by the wind. Her skin, in particular, was extremely white, without a single blemish. Her pure white hair and skin formed a very good match. Her eyes were like water, with a hint of gentleness and a hint of confusion, which added a bit of innocence. Her pink lips were sparkling and translucent, and her fingers were slender. She was exceptionally beautiful. She was only wearing a snow-white dress without any accessories. Her feet, which were like a 3-inch golden lotus, were bare on the ground. She had no magic treasures, no accessories, and not even a pair of shoes. Su-Yun stared at the girl, only to see her slightly bulging chest, 2 round things protruding. Could it be that she did not even wear underwear? Su-Yun was stunned. "Who are you?" he muttered. The two of them stood still, looking at each other. There was not a single sound around. Chapter 170. Who am I? The elf-like girl placed her slender fingers on her lip. Her face was full of doubt. Her bright eyes looked at Su-Yun and asked, "Who are you?" "Who am I?" Su-Yun's eyes widened. He looked at the girl and carefully felt her aura. He was surprised to find that the girl did not have any fluctuations of profound spirit chi. She did not seem to be deliberately hiding. Su-Yun moved his nose and sniffed. A burst of fragrance floated into his nose. It was unusually fresh. It was like waking up in the morning and smelling the first fragrance of flowers. The girl looked at him with her watery eyes. Her delicate face was full of confusion. "What are you doing?" the girl asked softly. She also learned from Su-Yun and sniffed his body. But Su-Yun vigilantly retreated, a pair of sword eyes staring at her vigilantly. "Do you know where this place is?" The girl shook her head. "Why are you here?" The girl still shook her head. "Who are you?" The girl still shook her head. "You should remember how you came here, right?" However, the girl's cute little head with silver hair kept shaking her head. "I don't know anything. I can't remember anything. Do you know?" "What about you?" she gently asked. Her confused eyes fell on Su-Yun's body. She began to feel a burst of strong curiosity. She was simply like a confused baby. Hearing these words, Su-Yun's face became dignified. Why would such a girl suddenly appear out of nowhere? Why was she in the sword sheath? Who was she? Su-Yun felt very confused. The sword elder was not here. There was no one to ask questions. However, just in case, he could not be lenient, Su-Yun thought. His eyes flashed a trace of murderous intent. "You said you don't know anything?" he asked. "I don't know who I am. I don't know where this place is. I don't know who you are. But it's very boring here. Do you want to take me away?" The girl looked at Su-Yun with an innocent look. "Well, I will take you away." As Su-Yun spoke, he reached into his storage ring and touched it. He was not sure if the girl was a safe person. Since he couldn't be sure, then there was danger. Any danger should be eliminated, no matter how beautiful or charming she was. Step by step, Su-Yun walked towards the girl. The 1,000-deep sword was also taken out. The cold sword blade was overflowing with a vast and astonishing sword concept. As Su-Yun walked closer to the girl, the sword concept gradually enveloped her. The girl looked at him strangely. She didn't make any movements, nor did she put up any guard. Even her pair of bright eyes didn't reveal any fear or vigilance. Was he pretending? Su-Yun's face suddenly turned sinister. He took a few steps forward and slashed towards the girl's head. 1,000-deep sword whistled, exploding with a turbulent sword intent, striking with astonishing force. He didn't hold back at all and attacked with all his strength. It didn't matter if this girl was good or evil. What he wanted was to eliminate all potential threat, even if he committed murder. But, just as 1,000-deep sword was about to split open the girl's head, 1,000-deep sword suddenly dimmed. The surface layer of energy disappeared without a trace. The sword was like cotton, directly hitting her head. There was a soft sound. Woo! The girl covered her head with both her hands and squatted down. Her eyes were filled with tears, looking innocent. "What are you doing?" she cried out in grief. But Su-yun ignored her. Instead, he looked at Thousand Deep Sword in his hands, his heart in a daze. Thousand Deep Sword was completely dim. There was not a single bit of energy in the sword. It was completely sucked out. At this moment, Qian Yuan was like an extremely weak person. He did not have the slightest bit of lethality and was on his last breath. What was going on? Su-yun retreated a few steps, shocked. Was it because of this girl? Suddenly, a ray of light shone into Su-yun's eyes. It was a ray of light that came from the girl's neck. It was a snow-white sword seal. It was slender and smooth. The sword was surrounded by circles. This seal was about the size of a thumb. But at this moment it was like a white sun releasing rays of light. I didn't see this seal previously. Why is it here now? Su-yun looked at Thousand Deep Sword in his hands. Could it be because of Thousand Deep Sword? And the chi that this sword seal was emitting was so mysterious? It didn't seem like profound spirit chi. What could it be? Su-yun suddenly walked back and forth. His eyes flickered and he stepped forward. There was a mosquito on your head just now. That's why. I'm sorry. Su-yun shamelessly quibbled. Is that so? The girl raised her innocent eyes and asked. Of course. Su-yun said very seriously. He looked at the white sword seal on the girl's neck. After thinking for a while, he said softly, What's that? The girl looked at where Su-yun was pointing. But she could not see it. She was so anxious that her face turned red. From the looks of it, this lass was a completely muddle-headed ghost. Su-yun secretly shook his head. He felt that he was thinking too much. He could not be bothered to care so much. He extended his finger and touched the sword seal. Then, just as Su-yun's finger touched the sword seal that was glowing with intense white light, the sword seal suddenly exploded with a shockingly hot energy. This energy was like a whirlpool. It pulled on Su-yun's finger and in a blink of an eye, all the energy in his body was sucked dry. He became weak and his eyes turned black. He fell to the ground unconscious. The girl was the same. The two of them fell to the ground. The sword sheath regained its silence. After an unknown period of time, the energy in his body slowly recovered. His brain also regained consciousness. Su-yun slowly opened his eyes. He felt that his entire body was sore and weak. He could only lie in front of the steps and look at the boundless blue sky. About an hour later, he finally recovered his strength. He tried his best to get up and looked around. He saw that the surroundings were still the same. The only difference was that the strange girl was lying not far away. The sword seal on her chest had already expanded dozens of times. It covered half of her chest. The sword seal glowed with light. It was very magical. What's going on with him collapsing? Su-yun clutched his aching forehead and muttered inexplicably. Ugh! At this time, a painful groan sounded. Then, the girl with long silver hair slowly opened her eyes and crawled up. Her delicate figure was like a flower bud in the wind, appearing frail and pitiful. Especially that faintly discernible dress, it was simply unable to conceal that immature yet tender delicate figure. Her pair of slender white legs even more caused one's imagination to run wild. She got up and then casually sat on the ground. She covered her clean and white forehead and lightly sucked in the cold air. It hurts, she muttered. Then, she raised her eyes that were as bright as autumn water and looked at Su-yun. Her beautiful eyebrows knitted. Hey little guy, how did you get into the limitless sword sheath? Her voice was still crisp and pleasant. It was sweet and moving. However, it had lost the gentleness from before. Now it had 3 points of maturity, 3 points of laziness, 3 points of contempt and 1 point of vigilance. And what did this mean? Suddenly, why did it seem like she was a different person? Su-yun was stunned. Ah! Suddenly, a sharp and resounding scream sounded. Su Yun hurriedly covered his ears. He could not help but retreat. He looked at the girl with vigilance. She lowered her head. Her eyes were wide open. She looked at her chest in shock. The sword seal was still glowing. However, very quickly, the sword seal began to spin and shrink. In just a few breaths of time, it returned to the size of a thumb. The light gradually dimmed and returned to its original shape. Seeing this, the girl suddenly raised her head. Her eyes were burning with flames. She angrily walked over. "You bastard!" She suddenly raised her hand and fiercely punched towards Su Yun. Just that. Her fist did not have a shred of profound spirit chi. She did not have much strength. When it hit Su Yun's chest, it was extremely soft. There was no damage at all. Even pain could not be felt. Su Yun's face was sluggish as he looked at this strange scene. His face was full of doubt. He regained his senses. He pressed on the girl's forehead and pushed her away. He asked, "Who are you? Why are you like a different person now?" The girl's strength was not as great as Su Yun's. She angrily snorted and gave up. She hugged her slightly bulging breasts and arrogantly said, "Rascal, I'm a sword. You're cheap? I'm a sword." The girl's white and perfect face was flushed red. "Oh." Su Yun nodded his head. Very quickly, he was stunned. "What did you say? You're a sword?" "Yes." The girl snorted. Her silver-white hair gently swayed like a curtain. "I'm also a sword in the Limitless sword sheath. But I'm not an ordinary sword. I was once a sword cultivator. But in order to repay the sword ancestor, I transformed into a sword and helped him." "Then what about the sword ancestor?" "I'm not sure." The girl snorted. "I haven't felt his existence for a long time. Maybe this sword sheath is lost. Or maybe he's dead," Su Yun said. The girl stared at him and snorted. "If he's dead, then I'll return to my human form and regain my freedom. Then you can leave." Su Yun did not care. Who knew that the girl's chest was heaving up and down? She stared at him as if she wanted to kill him. "But I can't leave now." "Why?" "I've been conquered by you. Is my charm that great?" Su Yun touched his face. "Stop flattering yourself." The girl snorted. She pointed at the sword mark on her neck and said, "Do you know what this is?" "What is it?" "This is my contract." The girl gritted her teeth. "You should know that all the swords in this sword sheath need to be conquered before they can be used, right?" "Yes, don't tell me. As long as you touch my contract, you can conquer me and temporarily control me. I heard that the stronger the sword, the harder it is to conquer it. How can it be so easy for you?" Su Yun teased. "You? What do you know about smelly brat?" The girl said angrily. "Because the sword ancestor has lost contact with the sword sheath for a long time, I automatically entered a sealed state. My consciousness, memory, talent, cultivation, and so on are all sealed. That's why you got your way. If it was a normal day, who would be able to conquer me?" She probably never thought that there would be others who entered the sword sheath. "Why did you seal your consciousness and memory?" "In order to repay the sword ancestor for saving my life, I promised to guard the sword for him for 5,000 years. If I don't do this, how can I spend such a long time?" In the end, he could not bear the loneliness. "Don't you know that the sword sheath will be passed down to others?" "I know, but I didn't expect it to be so fast." Su Yun was slightly confused. But looking at the sword mark on the girl's white neck, he suddenly asked, "Your sword mark can form a contract with just a touch, doesn't that mean you're thinking too much?" The girl's eyes darkened. She shook her head. "Brat, my contract was personally made by me. It was made a long time ago. The price was all of my cultivation, but the sword ancestor did not form a contract with me." No wonder the girl became flustered and exasperated with just a touch. Su Yun suddenly felt that everything was easy to explain. The sword ancestor saved the female sword immortal. In order to repay the sword ancestor, The female sword cultivator used her body as a sword and used all of her cultivation to form a contract. However, the sword ancestor refused. The female sword cultivator was stubborn and went into the sword sheath, hoping that one day she could help the sword ancestor. But this wait lasted for thousands of years. Chapter 171. It turned out that everything was just wishful thinking. Su-yun laughed bitterly and shook his head. So that means, now that I have a contract with you, you have to serve me for 5,000 years? How is that possible? My sword wheel has already spun 4,990 times. There are only 10 rounds left. In other words, the contract formed from my cultivation only has 10 years left. I will only serve you for 10 years. The female sword cultivator harumphed. Only 10 years? There's no need for that. Su-yun waved his hand. You're free. I have no interest in using a woman as a sword. You! The girl panted angrily. She gritted her teeth and said, Do you think I want to? How could someone with such a low cultivation like you be my master? Once this contract was signed, there was no way to cancel it. If I am too far away from you or leave this sword sheath, my cultivation will slowly fade away. I must stay by your side for 10 years, until the contract naturally disappears. Time lapse? Where is it going? This you don't need to know. The girl's eyes flickered. It can't be me, right? Su-yun laughed. The girl did not speak. Su-yun did not pursue the matter any further. At the moment, his entire body was exhausted, and it was obviously impossible for him to retrieve the sword. He glanced at the girl and asked, You say you are a sword, but where is your entire body? Your sword. How do you use it? Could it be that he had a special sword technique? Here. The girl pointed at her chest and said, Inside the sword seal is a sword formed from all of my cultivation. After taking the sword, I will lose all of my cultivation and become no different from an ordinary person. When you use my sword, you must protect my safety. Otherwise, if I die, the sword formed from my cultivation will also disappear. After saying that, she pointed to Su-yun's chest and said, Now, you also have a sword seal there. Only the person with the sword seal can pull out the sword. A sword formed from all of your cultivation? Su-yun's eyes sparkled as he stared at the young lady's fair chest, his eyes burning with passion. Suddenly, he stretched out his hand and reached out. However, the girl kept retreating, clutching her chest as she asked anxiously, What are you doing? Draw your sword, Su-yun said. Do you think you can draw my sword so easily? Unless it's a special situation, don't use me. Hearing that, Su-yun frowned. Now that you are serving me, shouldn't I familiarize myself with how to use your sword? Special circumstances? This is a special situation. No. Good. Good. He said yes, but in reality, he didn't agree. He was really hard to please. Your sword, it's fine if you don't want it. Su-yun could not be bothered to play around with the girl. He snorted and turned to leave. What the hell? You. Come back here. The girl shouted anxiously, stamping her foot. But Su-yun was too lazy to care. He stepped into the air and left the sword sheath. Crash. Soon, he returned to the Heavenly Hound Mountain Cave. Su-yun looked at the sword sheath on the ground and sat down cross-legged. He spat out a mouthful of impure chi and began to borrow the mystical Heavenly Dog Mountain Cave to recover his profound spirit chi. Although it wasn't dangerous to retrieve the sword this time, it was very unlucky. He hadn't even taken out his sword, yet he had run into a crazy woman. I don't know if she will be in danger or if she is a threat, Su-yun muttered. He pulled up the clothes on his chest and looked. There was indeed a glowing sword imprint. After recovering his profound spirit chi, Su-yun kept the sword sheath and rode the purple-horned beast towards the great Empress Nation. The purple-horned beast recovered its strength in the Heavenly Hound Mountain Cave. Its entire body was filled with dense profound spirit chi. It was as though it had taken drugs. It crazily sprinted forward. The ground rumbled under its feet. Very quickly, it reached the borders of the great Empress Nation. In front of the great Empress Nation Palace. Go and report that the people of Blossom Heart Valley are here to see the king of the great Empress Nation. Su Yun rode his purple-horned beast to the front door and spoke to the purple-armored soldier in front of him. People of Blossom Heart Valley? The purple-armored soldier glanced at Su Yun. Seeing that he was young and immature, he waved his hand and said impatiently, "The king is very busy. He doesn't have time to see you. Let's go. Let's go, let's go." The soldiers all shouted. They planned to chase Su Yun away. King Chong. A sword was pulled out. The sharp sword chi rippled. Su Yun turned his hand and stabbed the sword into the ground. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. Go and report that Blossom Heart Valley's clan elder Su Yun is here to see you. If you don't see him, the great Empress Nation will have to bear the consequences." Clan elder? The soldiers were startled. Looking at the sword that was stabbed into the ground, their hearts turned cold. If he was an elder, then the situation would be different. Although the great Empress Nation was a nation, its overall strength was equivalent to a sect. There were not many experts in the nation. The land was sparse. Blossom Heart Valley would definitely not dare to offend them. "You're an elder? Don't lie to me. The order badge is here." The order badge given by the Pill King was taken out. The soldiers looked at it. Realizing that it was real, they were all stunned. So it's the clan elder. Subordinate will go and report." The soldier hurriedly saluted, then hurriedly ran away. In the palace hall, a fat middle-aged man wearing a dragon robe and a crown stared at the black-clothed man who walked in with a solemn expression. There was only a prime minister on both sides. The other ministers had not arrived. "Su Yun greets your majesty." Su Yun cupped his fist. "You're the elder of Blossom Heart Valley?" The king of the great Empress Nation, Hong Xiang, frowned and asked, "Since when did Blossom Heart Valley have such a young elder like you?" "Only recently." Su Yun chuckled. Blossom Heart Valley was located at the border between the Great Sian region and the Great Sian region. It was a few days' journey from here. The king of the great Empress Nation could not tell if Su Yun was real or fake. Furthermore, he had the order badge given by the Pill King as proof. His identity was not to be suspected. Is that so? The king of the great Empress Nation did not believe him. But who would dare to make such a joke? Furthermore, the order badge was indeed the order badge of Blossom Heart Valley. Furthermore, the Prime Minister could not tell the depth of this person. He was not to be trifled with. The Prime Minister was a spirit-soul disciple. He was powerful. If he could not tell the depth of a person, how could this person be an ordinary person? My great Empress Nation and Blossom Heart Valley rarely interact. Blossom Heart Valley has sent an elder to my great Empress Nation. I wonder what's the matter? Oh, my valley sect has come here to ask for an item to save a person. It's called the Wu Huang flower. Currently, only the great Empress Nation has it. My valley sect has been searching for it everywhere but to no avail. I can only shamelessly ask for it. Su Yun said in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. Wu Huang flower? The king and the prime minister looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with seriousness. I do have one Wu Huang flower. This item is specially used to refine pills. My great Empress Nation does not have any powerful alchemist. I have no use for it. I can give it to your valley sect. But this item has already been reserved by someone. Hong Xiang's face was troubled. Not long ago, people from Mingying School came. They used a large amount of treasures to exchange for the Wu Huang flower. I agreed to it on the spot. They should be back today to retrieve it. So, this flower cannot be given to your valley sect. Please forgive me. What? Su Yun was stunned. He lowered his head and thought for a while. I will also use treasures to exchange with you. Please give it to me. This is for saving a person. This, Hong Xiang was in a dilemma. If it was Blossom Heart Valley, the great Empress nation was not to be trifled with. But was Ming-ing School easy to provoke? I will provide your country with a batch of very practical pill refining recipes. These recipes are all rare items. With these recipes, your country's overall strength will definitely increase. Your country doesn't lack things like money, but I think what you lack the most is these, right? Pill recipes? Hong Xiang was moved. Indeed, the great Empress nation did not lack money. What they lacked was technology. But he had already agreed. How could he go back on his words? A monarch never goes back on his words. Seeing that Hong Xiang and the Prime Minister were moved, Su Yun was about to open his mouth and add in some benefits to get the Wu Huang flower. But just at this time, a clear voice came out. This Wu Huang flower. Don't think too much about it. What my Ming-ing school wants, no one can take away. Su Yun looked towards the direction of the arrogant voice. He saw a man dressed in gold. He had 2 daggers on his waist. There were a few long black needles hanging on his body. The man's face was pale. His eyebrows were filled with hostility. He was smiling at Su Yun. Behind him were 8 people with their faces covered. They were also dressed in gold-plated clothes, but they looked lifeless. Yes, lifeless. There was not much life in them. If not for the fact that they could walk and stand in front of him, people would have thought that they were dead. Su Yun stared at them. He had a bad feeling. Then, he heard the man walk over and bow to King Hong Xiang. Your Majesty, is the Wu Huang flower ready? I need to take it immediately. In case someone remembers it. Su Yun frowned. It's ready. Hong Xiang glanced at the Prime Minister below. The Prime Minister understood and immediately waved his hand, shouting, Bring it up! Very quickly, a white-faced eunuch carried a brocade box and walked into the hall. That she was the Wu Huang flower. Su Yun's eyes narrowed. Only the Wu Huang flower and aqua meteorite were left. The only known Wu Huang flower was in the great Empress nation. The conditions for the Wu Huang flower to grow were extremely harsh. Searching for it was as difficult as ascending to heaven. If he did not take it now, he did not know when he would be able to find another one. The eunuch passed the brocade box to Hong Xiang. Hong Xiang took it and walked towards the man with the black needles. Master Protector, this box contains the Wu Huang flower. Don't go back on your words. How dare I? Your Majesty has personally asked for it. I will definitely give it to you with both hands. The man smiled and took the brocade box. Then, he was about to put it into his storage ring. Wait. Su Yun spoke. What? The 2 looked at him. Su Yun stared at the man with the black needles and hesitated. Can I have the Wu Huang flower? Give it to you? The man's eyes widened. Then, he laughed out loud. Ha 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 ha, who are you, kid? Why should I give it to you? This is the elder of Blossom Heart Valley, Hong Xiang said. Blossom Heart Valley elder? TSK TSK TSK. Since when did Blossom Heart Valley have such a young elder? But even if you're from Blossom Heart Valley, I don't buy it. Just based on you want to get something from Ming-ing School? Scram. Don't even think about it. The man kept his smile. He did not even look at the so-called elder of Blossom Heart Valley. He turned and was about to leave. Before the man left the hall, Su Yun spoke again. How can I give the Wu Huang flower to me? Give me a condition. Anything will do. This flower is very important to me. I have to get it. The man who was about to leave suddenly stopped in his tracks. He turned his head and looked at Su Yun. His eyes were sparkling. He seemed to have an idea. You really want it? Of course. It's not impossible for me to give it to you. This thing is actually just something that I asked for as a betrothal gift, but since you said it like that, then let me think about the conditions. The man scratched his head. His eyes carefully sized up Su Yun and suddenly asked, What is your cultivation level? 8th stage spirit intermediate disciple. So low. Hong Xiang and the man were stunned. Su Yun removed the heavenly scale divine eye. His chi leaked out. Only then did everyone believe him. Seems like you have a good treasure to hide your cultivation level, the man said. He walked a few steps forward and closed his eyes to feel Su Yun's chi. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. He became interested and said, "Kid, your chi is very pure. Seems like your talent is not bad. Why are you asking this?" He just casually asking. "Kid, if you really want this Wu Huang flower, help me do something. If it's done, I'll give it to you. How about that?" "What's the matter? Something good?" The man chuckled. Chapter 172. Not long after staying in the Great Empress country, Su Yun was taken away by the man with black needles all over his body. The group of people ran out of the Great Empress country and headed north. What Su Yun did not expect was that the pale man with the black needles on his waist was the famous left protector of the Ming-Ing school, Lu Xiandong. It was rumored that Lu Xiandong was vicious and merciless. His cultivation level was high and he had learned many secret techniques. His power was extremely profound. No one would have thought that the person in front of them was him. Wasn't Hu Qianmei also a protector of the Ming-Ing school? Su Yun's mind was in a mess. He had to avoid Hu Qianmei. She had seen him before and knew that he was limitless. She knew that he had the heavenly crystal on him. If they were to meet, the situation would be serious. However, Su Yun was not worried about Lu Xiandong. He definitely did not know that he had the heavenly crystal because Hu Qianmei would definitely not say it out loud. After all, if she did, Lu Xiandong would definitely attack. Once Su Yun died, Hu Qianmei's life was also in danger. How could she dare to act recklessly? Isn't this the direction to Ming-Ing school? What? Protector Lu is bringing me to Ming-Ing school? Su Yun raised his head and asked. We are not going to Ming-Ing school, but to a special place. Just follow me. Lu Xiandong laughed as the purple-horned beast beneath him started running frantically. Su Yun did not speak, but his nerves were already stretched taut. Lu Xiandong's cultivation was so dense that it was hard to believe. He was most likely at the peak of the spirit-soul disciple realm. Such a being was not someone that the people on the wanted list could compare to. If he did not rely on the heavenly crystal, he would definitely not be able to defeat him. Even if he only relied on the sprite's shadow, it would still be difficult. Let's see how it goes. If this person has ulterior motives, we have to leave quickly. Su Yun took a deep breath. If it wasn't for the Wu Huang flower, he wouldn't have done this. Kid, be careful, this person is not simple. Just as Su Yun lowered his head and followed, a sweet and gentle female voice resounded in his mind. Crazy woman, it's you? Do you want to die? I am a very powerful sword cultivator. How dare you be so rude to me? Once the contract is over, that sword will disappear, and my cultivation will be restored. I will definitely teach you a lesson. The female sword cultivator was clearly enraged as she roared furiously. Su Yun closed his eyes and turned a deaf ear. After a long silence, she finally spoke. Brat, I'm advising you out of goodwill. Don't take my goodwill for granted. Thank you, I know he is not simple. Su Yun replied. Then why did you go with him? Aren't you afraid that he'll sell you? I need the Wu Huang flower to save someone. Time is of the essence, and I have to get the Wu Huang flower. Even if it's dangerous, I have to do it. Who is so important? My family. I didn't expect you to have such thoughts. I thought you were a cold-blooded and heartless fellow. Not bad, at least I admire you for this. Let me remind you again, the 8 people behind that fellow seem to have been controlled by him using a strange, profound skill. These 8 people are no longer humans, perhaps? They are more like his puppets. Puppet? Su Yun was surprised. Do you see the needle hanging from his waist? You can see it. I can see it through the sword sheath. What happened to the needle? Look at the movement of the needle. When the sword lady said that, Su Yun's eyes narrowed and stared at Lu Xiandong's waist. After a while, Su Yun's face turned ugly. The needles kept on swaying, but they did not follow the inertia of the purple-horned beasts, but swayed rhythmically, and when they swayed they would collide with each other, emitting a subtle sound, like a ripple that spread in all directions. These sounds would not affect a normal person, and many people would not even care, but to the 8 people, it had a special effect. They seemed to receive their orders from the sound of the needle colliding with each other. These black needles are the treasures that control the 8 people? Su Yun thought. It should be so. Using humans as treasures. This person's heart is vicious enough. So that's what you're thinking. Good thing I didn't use you. Go to the side. The sword lady snorted. Half a day later, the sun gradually set and night fell. The group of people did not know where they went. All they saw was Lu Xiandong bringing Su Yun to the front of a gigantic temple. The temple was dilapidated, and seemed to have been abandoned for a long time. There was not a single monk in the temple. Even the surroundings of the temple were barren. There were hardly any signs of human activity. What is this place? Su Yun glanced at the temple and asked. A temple built by a demonic monk. Lu Xiandong got down from the purple-horned beast and walked over. There are 8,888 monk corpses buried under this temple. The demonic monk wanted to refine them into a 10,000-bone treasure. But before he succeeded, he was destroyed by the righteous people. The resentment in this temple is too strong and hard to destroy. So, it was preserved. Rascal, I want you to help me retrieve something. Because of the special nature of this temple, once a person with high cultivation enters, his cultivation will be devoured. Furthermore, it will stimulate the 8,888 monk corpses, allowing them to temporarily revive. If that's the case, it'll be troublesome. So, I need your help. Only a person with inferior skills like you will be fine if he goes in. Lu Xiandong laughed. There are many spirit intermediate cultivators like me on the street. Why did you choose me? Su Yun turned and asked. You're wrong. Rascal, there are indeed many spirit intermediate cultivators like you on the street. But it's hard to find someone with your talent. Talent? You can observe my talent index? I have a treasure that allows me to observe people with talent index of 4 times and below. I can analyze the profound spirit chi that they emit. I did not expect you to have more than 4 times the talent index. Is it 4 times? Or 5 times? This kind of genius is not something that can be found on the street. That's the special nature of this temple. If your talent is low or your cultivation is low, you'll be easily bewitched by the resentment. But your talent is high and your spiritual power is strong. You won't be affected. Naturally, you'll be able to help me retrieve the treasure. Lu Xiandong said. That makes sense. But, how can I trust you? I'm not familiar with this temple at all. I can't guarantee that I'll be able to come out alive. And, what if I manage to retrieve the treasure and you refuse to give me the Wu Huang flower? What should I do then? Su Yun stared at Lu Xiandong. Haha, don't worry. I'm the protector of Ming Ying School. I'm a righteous sect. I'm a big shot. Why would I lie to a brat like you? Anyone can say nice things, but it won't calm me down. Why don't you give me the Wu Huang flower first? Then I'll be at ease. Then I'll enter the temple and retrieve the treasure for you. How about that? Lu Xiandong hesitated for a while. Then, he nodded and smiled. All right. There must be trust between people. Since you said so, I'll give you the Wu Huang flower first. When you take out the treasure that I want, the Wu Huang flower will be yours. With that, Lu Xiandong took out the brocade box from his storage ring and passed it to Su Yun. Su Yun extended his hand to take it. When he opened it, he saw a beautiful flower that looked like it was carved out of ice. It was lying inside quietly. It was indeed the Wu Huang flower. Su Yun was elated. He quickly kept the item. Are you satisfied now? Lu Xiandong laughed. Not bad. Su Yun nodded, then turned around. Looking at the dilapidated temple, he took a deep breath. I'll wait for the good news. Lu Xiandong crossed his arms. Su Yun did not reply. Instead, he walked towards the temple. The person walked further and further away. Come back quickly. You're a powerful human spirit with 4 times the talent. I'll train you into the strongest divine weapon. Lu Xiandong looked at the person walking away. He muttered softly. Then, he turned his head and looked at the 8 people behind him. He chuckled. Very soon, there will be new members joining you. Are you happy? But the 8 of them did not make a sound. All of them looked ahead blankly. Su family. In the main house hall, the remaining clan elders and deacons gathered. Su Lixiong sat at the top with a gloomy face. Patriarch, the traitors Su Tai and Su Shilong have already escaped from Julian district. Our people have already caught their tracks. Looking at their route, they seem to be planning to seek refuge in Long Ao Nation. But don't worry. In less than 10 days, the elites of the Su family will definitely bring the 2 traitors back. Su Minghe, who had been promoted from the intersect finance manager to the intersect deacon, walked forward and cupped his fist. Wait till we catch the 2 of them. We must cut them into 1,000 pieces. Our Su family has treated them well. But we never thought that they would betray us. Truly despicable and shameless. Unforgivable. We must capture these traitors. The clan elders and higher-ups of the Su family shouted with righteous indignation. Enough. Su Lixiong bellowed with a slight headache. The hall instantly became silent. Su Tai and Su Shilong naturally have to be captured. But I'm more concerned about where Qing Er went. Su Lixiong coldly looked at everyone. Suda, who was in charge of the warriors department, stood out and said, Our people have already found their tracks. But looking at the direction they escaped to, it seems to be towards the Great Sian District. Maybe they have already entered the Great Sian District. Great Sian District? Su Lixiong thought for a while. Then, he snorted. What Great Sian District? It's obvious that they escaped to the Blossom Heart Valley between the Julian District and the Great Sian District. Blossom Heart Valley? Oh, I remember now. Su Yun seems to have a close relationship with the Pill King of Blossom Heart Valley. Qing Er grew up with Su Yun. The 2 of them must have sought refuge in Blossom Heart Valley. If it's Blossom Heart Valley, then it's troublesome. Although there aren't many experts in Blossom Heart Valley, they do good deeds to save people. They have healed the injuries of many sections. They have countless connections with the big sections. If they're in Blossom Heart Valley, I'm afraid it'll be hard for us to get them. Su Minghe revealed a troubled look. That's right, that's right. The others all agreed. Su Lixiong did not care. He waved his hand at the old man sitting at the front. That man was the 3rd clan elder of the Su family, Su Yangnian. He immediately walked over. Have you contacted the Profound Sky sect? Su Lixiong asked softly. The people from the Profound Sky sect are already waiting in the inner sect. They're already here. Su Lixiong frowned. That's fast. Young Miss has escaped. This has angered the people from the Profound Sky sect. They want us to cooperate with them to find young Miss. Humph. Profound Sky sect? Who do they think they are? If not for my Su family asking them for help, how can they be so arrogant? Go to the inner sect now. Tell them to send more experts to help. If they don't move, then we won't go. It's time to go to Blossom Heart Valley. Yes. Su Yangnian nodded and immediately retreated. All of you can go now. Su Lixiong waved his hand and continued to hold his aching forehead. Chapter 173. Kacha. Stepping on a piece of green stone, Su Yun walked towards the temple not far away. The temple was eerie. With the dark sky, it looked like a ghost house. It was extremely cold and the atmosphere was strange. The thing that Lu Xiandong needed was in the Buddha statue in the main hall of the temple. He said, Kowtow to the Buddha statue 3 times and activate the mechanism in the Buddha statue. The thing would be inside. Then, take the thing out and leave the temple. Everything would be over. However, Su-yun felt that things were not that simple. The Wu Huang flower was such a precious thing. How could Lu Xiandong give it to him so easily? And was it really like what he said? No matter how he thought about it, it felt wrong. He seemed to know that Su-yun was extremely concerned about the Wu Huang flower. That was why he used such a clumsy excuse to bait Su-yun. Su-yun pondered and continued walking. However, after taking 2 steps, his footsteps suddenly stopped. Looking at the corner of the temple, there was a pile of white powder-like substance. He glanced at the powder. His eyes narrowed, but he remained calm and continued walking towards the temple. Rascal, are you really going in? You'll die if you go in. This temple is weird. It's filled with terrifying death chi. Other than the death chi, there's a weird chi. Even I can't tell what this chi is. I advise you not to go in. The sword lady's voice came out. I don't know what Lu Xiandong's goal is. But my goal is the Wu Huang flower. Now that I have it, I should leave. But Lu Xiandong and his people are outside. If I go out empty-handed, not only will the Wu Huang flower be snatched away, I might even lose my life. Su-yun said softly. Then what do you plan to do? Go and get it for him? Are you sure that after you get it for them, they will still let you take the Wu Huang flower? Of course not. But so what? I have no choice. He can't be bothered to find a better excuse to lie to me. Our powers are too different. Anyway, as long as I get the Wu Huang flower, I will have a chance. Su-yun took a deep breath and continued walking. Very quickly, he stepped into the main entrance of the temple. Waves of death chi and cold chi rushed towards him. In a blink of an eye, it wrapped him up tightly. Whimpers and screams came from within the temple. They were very soft sounds, but when they entered the ears, they made people shudder. They were like the roars of wild ghosts. Before he even got close to the hall where the Buddha statue was placed, he could already see bursts of green light flowing out of the hall. It was extremely strange. Su-yun stood outside the hall and looked inside. He saw that there was indeed a gigantic Buddha statue in the center of the hall. The Buddha statue had no head, and its body was covered in cracks and dust. In front of the Buddha statue, there was a green praying mat. That must be the trigger point that Lu Xiandong mentioned. Why is there such a strange place? Furthermore, why hasn't this place been eradicated by the so-called righteous sects? Don't they like to do this kind of thing in the past and then publicize it to gain fame? Su-yun took a step forward and started to walk around the hall. Looking for another way out? The sword lady saw Su-yun looking left and right around the hall and immediately sneered. Since you're here, then save it, kid. Since they dared to give you the Wu Huang flower, it means that you won't be able to escape. Other than the path that they are blocking, there's no other way out. After confirming, he realized that there was a layer of enchantment around him. If he were to attack the enchantment, he might attract the dead monks in the temple. He was afraid that Lu Xiandong would be the first to sense it and he would be in danger. Su-yun pondered and turned back to look. He saw that there were still shadows moving at the big door. Kid, if you die, you better hide the sword sheath before you die. I don't want to leave this treasure for those rascals. The sword lady started to make a ruckus again. Su-yun could not be bothered with her. Suddenly, he thought of the silly and adorable girl who sealed her memories and cultivation. Her current look was completely unlikable. He stepped into the hall and looked around. Finally, his gaze locked onto the headless Buddha statue. As he walked over, he felt his body getting colder and colder. His consciousness and spirit seemed to be bewitched. Gradually, it was hard to control. He felt dizzy. Was this what Lu Xiandong was referring to as the bewitchment of grievances? But this did not seem like resentment. Instead, it seemed more like spirit demon chi. Seems like Lu Xiandong has been lying to me. Su Yun was enlightened. His face turned sinister as he reached for the sword sheath on his back. Clang! A long sword flew out and fiercely slashed towards the Buddha statue. Dong! The fierce sword chi was like a strong hand that directly tore the Buddha statue. The Buddha statue was instantly torn into pieces. Countless of green spirits flew out from the Buddha statue and collided in all directions. At the bottom of the temple, there were waves of miserable screams. Ah! It was as though countless people were suffering from a different kind of pain. The entire temple started to tremble. The ground cracked. Su Yun's sword seemed to have struck the core of the temple. The entire quiet temple started to boil. These are spirit demons? Seeing the sinister spirits that came out from the Buddha statue, Su Yun's face changed. Spirit demons? Don't tell me that praying mat? The sword lady trembled. She was shocked and angry as she scolded. The spirit demons are hidden in the Buddha statue. That praying mat is emitting spirit demon chi. It must be connected to the Buddha statue. This person wants you to retrieve it. He must be trying to trick you into activating the mechanism of the Buddha statue. Then, the spirit demons will invade your body and devour your consciousness. Despicable. So vicious. Su Yun pulled out the 1,000-deep sword and killed the spirit demons that were pouncing towards him. He activated the heavenly Qilin divine eye and rushed towards the back of the temple. Luckily, the spirit demons were not strong. They were only at the 5th stage of the spirit intermediate disciple realm. However, they could cause a lot of damage to a person's spirit and consciousness. Just then, a few figures rushed in. A portion of them rushed towards the spirit demons. A portion of them rushed towards the cracked ground. They rushed towards the dead monks that were about to escape. Only one person rushed towards Su Yun. Brat, you're really not honest? Heh, but it's okay. Wait till I catch you. I'll pour in the spirit demons and devour your spirit. I'll erase your consciousness and turn you into my human puppet. For me to use. Ha 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 ha. This voice belonged to Lu Xiandong. Hearing that, Su Yun broke out in cold sweat. Human puppet? Was it the 8 people that followed Lu Xiandong? No wonder they were so lifeless. They were all taken over by the spirit demons and turned into puppet. Could it be that Lu Xiandong saw that Su Yun was talented and purposely used the Wu Huang flower to lure Su Yun here? Su Yun rushed forward quickly. His heart was getting colder and colder, but the entire temple was surrounded by thick mud walls. Furthermore, there was an enchantment. It would be difficult to get out in a short period of time. This enchantment was probably set up by Lu Xiandong. This place was basically a place that Lu Xiandong protected and used. Su Yun stopped in his tracks. His nerves tensed up. His heart hardened. He suddenly turned around and swung his sword towards Lu Xiandong. Lu Xiandong did not care. He waved both his hands. 2 rays of cold light shot out. It was 2 sharp daggers. It was like 2 crescent moons dancing in his palms. Dang! The 1,000-deep sword that flew out was repelled back. It kept spinning in the air. But in the next second, a black sword with a sword sheath flew over. A spirit intermediate disciple dares to challenge me? You've got some guts. Not bad. Using you as a puppet, I was right. Lu Xiandong was not angry. Instead, he was happy. He looked at Su Yun with a passionate gaze. He did not care about the black sword. He waved his hand and wanted to capture Su Yun. But in the next second, Su Yun suddenly leaped up. He did not escape. Instead, he attacked Lu Xiandong. Bada. He caught hold of the black sword hilt that Lu Xiandong sent flying. He pulled with force. Clang! A ray of black aura that was darker than the night leaked out from the sword sheath. Lu Xiandong could only see a huge bloody word flashing past his eyes. Death. Buzz 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 buzz. It shook his mind. It made his soul tremble. Following that, the sky was filled with hundreds of flying swords. It was as though a steel mouth was trying to swallow Lu Xiandong. Flying swords? Your limitless sword lord? Lu Xiandong was shocked. He hurriedly retreated. After killing 2 spirit soul disciple cultivators consecutively, he had become the #1 wanted criminal of the Su family and Immortal Sword sect. How could he dare to resist? He never expected that this person was Limitless Sword Lord. Rascal! You actually obtained the Death Sword. Incredible! Incredible! Do you know the origin of this sword? How dare you use it? The female sword cultivator exclaimed in surprise. But Su Yun was too lazy to care about her. He attacked with a few swords. Limitless identity was also exposed. At that moment, he could not care so much. Saving his life was more important. Limitless Sword God's identity shocked Lu Xiandong. Su Yun seized the opportunity and rushed towards the door. Previously, when the Buddha statue was destroyed, it resulted in the appearance of a large number of demon spirits and dead monks. The entire temple was in chaos. Lu Xiandong struck the 100 swords away, but realized that although the 100 swords were imposing, their power did not seem to be at the spirit soul disciple realm. His aura is that of a spirit intermediate disciple. Heh, you must be pretending to be limitless. Don't even think about leaving. Lu Xiandong knocked away the spirits and dead monks, and chased after Su Yun, who was rushing out of the temple. Su Yun hurriedly chanted. A large number of flying swords flew behind him and pierced towards Lu Xiandong. But facing a spirit soul disciple like Lu Xiandong, he had no way of defending. Even if he activated the heavenly crystal and sprite's shadow, it would be hard for him to defend. It was rumored that Lu Xiandong was about to step into the spirit star realm, but no one knew if that was true or not. If that was the case, then it would be incredible. Whoosh! A cold and overbearing aura swept over. Lu Xiandong was about to catch up. So fast. Su Yun was shocked. Without any hesitation, he raised his right hand and the pitch-black ring on his finger flickered. Boom! A bolt of lightning flashed across the sky. Following that, the dark clouds started to swirl and started to cover densely. Thick, strong, overbearing, sharp chi rushed over. It was as though it had locked onto him, as though something was already aiming at him. Huh! Lu Xiandong stopped in his tracks and looked up. The dark clouds were getting thicker and thicker, swirling faster and faster. Suddenly, a gigantic sword that looked like a dragon's head emerged from the dark clouds and flew straight towards him. Cleaving the heavens, beheading the dragon. Lu Xiandong's face darkened. Boom! A loud sound came from behind him. The earth trembled, the heaven and earth shook. The destruction caused by the shocking slash was hard to estimate. As for Su Yun, who had forcefully activated the sprite's shadow, his entire body's profound spirit chi had been sucked dry. He did not have any strength left. He tried his best to run forward, but his body staggered. In the end, he could not take it anymore and fell to the ground. Chapter 174. Hey rascal, are you alright? Hey, hey. Even if you want to die, throw the sword sheath away. Don't let it land in his hands. The sword lady saw Su Yun panting on the ground and shouted anxiously. I'll give the sword sheath to Lu Xiandong immediately and tell him that there's a very powerful sword in the sword sheath. And it's a human sword. Su Yun sighed and said softly. Then, he tried his best to stand up. Sword lady. Seeing that Su Yun was struggling to move forward, he held onto the desolate stone beside him and said helplessly, Why do you want to use that treasure? That treasure is not something you can control. Although you used it to stall that person temporarily, you don't have any strength left. You can't run far. If I didn't use it, I would have been killed by him. Su Yun exhaled. Next time, he had to get more vanishing spirit pills and 10,000 resentment pills to save his life. Now that he had lost all his trump cards, he could not fight against someone like Lu Xiandong. All his treasures were of the highest quality. If he was exposed, he would not even have the ability to protect himself. Su Yun kept the 1,000-deep sword and death sword. He wanted to fly away. But the two swords could not even fly. How could he control them? Dong! Just then, a loud sound came from behind. The gigantic cleaving the heavens, beheading the dragon, had already dissipated. This technique was extraordinary and majestic. But to rely on it to get rid of Lu Xiandong was obviously a fantasy. He's coming over. Rascal, hurry up! The sword lady was getting more anxious. Su Yun forced himself to take a deep breath. He tried his best to stand up and run forward. But before he could run far, his chi trembled. His heart beat rapidly and suddenly slowed down. His eyes turned black. His consciousness blurred and he fell to the ground. He was exhausted. Rascal! Rascal! The sword lady shouted anxiously. But Su Yun had already fainted. He could not hear her at all. The grade of the sprite's shadow was too high. With his cultivation level, it was hard to activate. Forcefully activating this technique had drained all his energy. Right at this moment, the sound of light footsteps rang out. The sword lady looked out through the sword sheath. A red figure suddenly stood in front of Su Yun. Who is she? The female sword cultivator was puzzled. This figure was extremely good-looking. She didn't look very old, about 11 or 12 years old. She was dressed in a light red sword with white roses embroidered on it. She had a pure colored belt around her waist, which was embedded with 12 dazzling crystals. She looked beautiful and elegant at the same time. Her long ink-like hair was pierced with a light red hairpin. Her beautiful eyes seemed to be embedded on her fair face. Her eyebrows were perfectly curved, and her thin lips were pink and translucent. And the most eye-catching thing was on her head. There were 2 snow-white furry fox ears, a huge fox tail gently swaying behind her, causing people to want to hold it and calm it down. Take him away! The girl in the sword dress whispered to the people behind her. Yes, guardian! The 2 black-clothed women behind him hurriedly said. Soon, the unconscious Su Yun was carried away. Seeing this, the female sword cultivator did not dare to make a sound and quickly returned to the sword sheath. Crash! Lu Xiandong, who had just defended against the cleaving the heavens dragon sword strike, ran over, panting slightly. When he saw the girl, he was startled. Master Guardian! Lu Xiandong flashed and landed in front of Hu Qianmei. He stared at her and sized her up. He smiled and asked, Why are you here? Did you see anyone running towards here? I have nothing to do in the middle of the night, so I came here for a stroll. As for whether you saw anyone running towards here, I did. Hu Qianmei said indifferently, but I don't know who that person is, so I didn't stop him. Is that so? Hearing that, Lu Xiandong looked into the distance. That person has a powerful treasure on him that can hide his chi and traces. If he's not in my field of vision, it'll be hard for me to find him. There's nothing to be afraid of. We're close to Mingying School. Looking at his direction, he's running towards Mingying School. Since we're in Mingying School's territory, there's no one I can't catch. Guardian, I'll take my leave first. I'll be back soon. With that, Lu Xiandong's figure flashed and disappeared. Hu Qianmei pondered for a moment, then turned and walked towards Mingying School. The night was hazy. The Mingying School that was in the middle of the mountains was extremely strange. A mountain wolf howled towards the sky, its howl reverberating throughout the mountains. A few figures shuttled through the mountains and quickly entered Mingying School. In a bright and spacious room, on a bed draped with pink curtains, a young man with a pale complexion was lying on it. Beside the bed was a barefooted young lady with an exquisite figure. Her long silver hair hung beside her feet. The young lady's entire body was glowing slightly. Her face was beautiful. At this moment, she extended her slender hands and grabbed onto the young man's clothes and shook it continuously. Rascal! Rascal! Hurry and wake up! Hurry and wake up! Rascal! Rascal! Hurry and wake up! The young lady shouted anxiously. But in the next second, a big hand pressed onto her soft and tender cheek. "Oh, stop shaking me. I'm so tired. I'm about to fall apart." A weak voice came out. Then, Su Yun slowly opened his eyes. The sword lady angrily pried Su Yun's hand away and said angrily, "You asshole, you treat my kindness as malice. I'm doing this for your own good. Yet you keep insulting me. Wait till my contract ends. I'll make you pay." Alright, make me pay." Su Yun laughed helplessly and tried his best to stand up. He looked around. It seemed to be a room. The room was exquisite and elegant. It was clean and tidy. On the right was a dressing table made of jade. On the left was a cabinet. It seemed to be used to store clothes. There seemed to be light seeping out of the cabinet. There was an intoxicating fragrance in the air. It smelled extremely good. Su Yun could not help but take a deep breath and asked, "What's going on? Have I been captured?" "I don't know. But you weren't captured by that Lu Xian Dong. I think you were captured by another woman," the sword lady said. Su Yun turned to look at her and asked curiously, "Another woman? Who? Also, why did you run out? You're already like this. Don't tell me I'm just going to sit and wait for death? I looked outside just now. There doesn't seem to be anyone guarding you. Hurry up and get up. Let's leave this place quickly. I don't even know where this is. How do I know where to run to?" Su Yun sighed and leaned on the bed. "And I don't have much strength now. I'm afraid I can't run far." "Don't tell me you're giving up?" "This isn't giving up. It's just that the danger isn't so close," Su Yun said blandly. "The other party brought me to this room to recuperate. It's not a prison or a dungeon. It's enough to show that the other party won't do anything to me. At least, he won't torture me or kill me. So, don't be in a hurry to escape. You can hide in the sword sheath. I have nowhere to hide. I'm not in a hurry." "Why are you in a hurry? You really don't know how to write the word death." The sword lady was getting more and more furious. Just then, light footsteps could be heard from afar. It was getting closer. "Someone's coming." Su Yun and the sword lady were stunned. They watched as the sword lady leaped up and turned into a ray of white light before disappearing into the sword sheath. Su Yun got off the bed anxiously and stared at the door cautiously. "Gotcha." The door was gently pushed open. A petite and delicate voice walked in. Red dress, petite body, foxtail. The person who walked in was actually Hu Qianmei. "It's you?" Su Yun's eyes widened. His mind was in a mess. It was actually her. That meant this was Mingying's school. "Why? Are you surprised?" Hu Qianmei turned around, her bright eyes staring at him coldly. Her seemingly young and tender yet charming face seemed to be frozen with a layer of ice. "It's very surprising." Su Yun exhaled and said, "Was it you who saved me? What else do you think?" Hu Qianmei snorted. "You're so weak, yet you run around. This time, Lu Xian Dong actually took a liking to you. Luckily I sensed your position. If not, you would have been refined into a puppet by him. At that time, I'm afraid I'll be in trouble along with you." Could it be that, after the special physique, there was a mutual sensing effect? But why could he not sense Hu Qianmei's position? Su Yun was suspicious. "Thank you." He sighed and said seriously, "Thank you." Hu Qianmei's face turned cold. She said fiercely, "Saving you is just saving me. When your injuries are healed, quickly leave. Don't give me any more trouble. Before I find a way to dissolve our relationship, you better protect your life." "Are you still thinking of killing me?" Su Yun said indifferently. Hu Qianmei's face turned cold. She clenched her teeth. "You insulted my innocence. I can't wait to cut you into 1,000 pieces." "Then you'd better figure out who's the one who provoked me," Su Yun said indifferently. "If you don't want to kill me and don't want to steal my heavenly crystal, why would such a thing happen?" Hu Qianmei was angry. With a wave of her hand, The demonic blood blade flew out from the scabbard on her waist and directly slashed towards Su Yun's face. The strange and enchanting blade emitted a cold chi that could cut rocks and break jade. However, Su Yun's expression did not change. He did not dodge. He knew that Hu Qianmei would not make a move. As expected, the moment the blade was close to Su Yun's face, it directly stopped. Looking at Su Yun's calm face, Hu Qianmei became more and more angry. She sheathed the blade, her delicate and charming face was filled with coldness. But very quickly she smiled. Her dark red lips slightly pursed, and the corners of her mouth rose. Her big eyes curved like a crescent moon. Looking at this typical fox smile, Su Yun's heart thumped. He felt that something was wrong. "What are you laughing at?" Su Yun frowned and asked. "Nothing?" "Brother, do you think that I can't kill you, so I can't do anything to you?" I can't kill you, but can't I hit you?" Hu Qianmei walked over step by step. Her eyes were filled with pride, and a sense of carefree feeling rose. "You can kill a spirit soul disciple cultivator by relying on the heavenly crystal and other treasures. I just checked your treasures and found that the heavenly crystal can't be activated. I think you don't have any other methods. With such a low cultivation level and such a weak body, I can do whatever I want with you. Isn't that right?" She stuck out her lilac tongue and licked her pink lip. The smile on her face became more and more strange. Su Yun broke out in a cold sweat. He was speechless. He could not help but step back. He fell on the bed and stared at the little fox. You checked my storage ring? Why didn't you take the heavenly crystal? You are so weak. With the heavenly crystal and other treasures to protect yourself, at least you won't die so easily. If you die, I won't have a good ending. But now, first, I will teach you a lesson to vent the hatred in my heart. After that, Hu Qianmei pounced forward. Her pink fist directly smashed towards Su Yun's face. "Don't you mess around!" Su Yun exclaimed. He hastily dodged to the side to avoid the pink fist. "You still dare to dodge?" Hu Qianmei was slightly angry. She swung her arm and smashed it on Su Yun's neck. Su Yun's entire body turned sideways on the bed. Ha 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 ha. Seeing Su Yun's embarrassed appearance, Hu Qianmei proudly laughed. Her full chest constantly trembled. Seeing this, Su Yun was extremely angry. But looking at her big tail that was constantly swaying, he seemed to have thought of something. Without saying a word, he directly reached out his hand to grab the tail. The fluffy tail in his hand was soft and smooth. It made people unable to put it down. But Hu Qianmei was different. Her delicate body reflexively trembled a few times. Her eyes widened as she looked at Su Yun. Before she could react, her entire body fell to the side of the bed. Her cheeks were crimson red as she angrily stared at Su Yun. "Let go." Hu Qianmei clenched her teeth and said. Chapter 175. Let go? Let go of what? Looking at Hu Qianmei's powerless appearance, Su Yun suddenly became energetic. Last time in the mutual destruction of 5 elements grounds, he seemed to have grabbed the fox's tail and she lost her strength, unable to resist. This seemed to be her weakness. Perhaps many people did not know. "You're not letting go?" Hu Qianmei gasped for breath, her cheeks were extremely red, her eyes were blurred, and she looked like she was in a trance. Even her voice became softer, as if she was about to cry. But Su Yun did not listen to her words. "You dare to hit me?" Su Yun snorted as he directly raised his big palm and smacked Hu Qianmei's perky little butt. "Pa!" A crisp sound came out. The soft and bouncy touch covered the entire palm in an instant. Hu Qianmei's small mouth slightly opened as she cried out in pain. Tears overflowed from her eyes as she laid on the edge of the bed. Her petite and exquisite body was constantly twisting. "Despicable! Kid, what are you doing?" The female sword cultivator in the sword sheath could not help but spit. But Su Yun could not be bothered with her at this moment. He pulled Hu Qianmei's fox tail towards the bed, as if he wanted to become even more aggressive and teach this little fox a lesson. But Hu Qianmei was really angry at this moment. "Do you still want to insult me?" Hu Qianmei was so angry that her whole body trembled. Last time in the mutual destruction of 5 elements grounds, she lost her cultivation and her foxtail was taken by Su Yun. Her whole body was numb and she did not have the slightest bit of strength. But it was different now. Although she could not use her strength, her profound spirit qi was extremely abundant. Her cultivation was still there. How could she be afraid of Su Yun, a weak spirit intermediate disciple? Immediately, the profound spirit qi was infused into her tail and swayed. That soft tail brought with it an astonishing power, wanting to fling Su Yun away. But at this moment, Su Yun did not know where he got his strength from. As if he had sensed Hu Qianmei's intention, he immediately got off the bed and pounced towards her. Hu Qianmei, whose tail was taken, was completely numb. She did not even have time to defend and was immediately thrown to the ground. A man on top of a woman, just like that, their eyes met. Hu Qianmei was startled, she stared blankly at him, her cheeks were red and alluring, her charming eyes were like 2 black gems, bright and full of charm, especially her exquisite figure, which was completely squeezed by Su Yun. Her soft and delicate body overflowed with an intoxicating fragrance, causing the man to feel as if he wanted to melt into her small but fiery body. Shameless bastard. What are you doing? Don't dirty my eyes, stop. The female sword cultivator could not bear to watch any longer. She gritted her teeth and shouted. Su Yun's entire body trembled. He did not expect it to be like this. Hu Qianmei had already regained his senses. Seeing that the man was treating him like this, how could he still be soft-hearted? Previously, Su Yun's body was weak, so he only planned to teach him a lesson and did not attack ruthlessly. That was why he took advantage of him, but he did not expect him to not know what was good for him. Hu Qianmei clenched her teeth and activated her profound spirit qi, intending to send Su Yun flying. But at this moment, hua la la, the sound of a robe fluttering in the wind could be heard from outside, followed by the sound of light footsteps. Someone was coming. The two of them were shocked. Quickly hide, you have a treasure that can shield your qi, you only need to hide your body. Quickly! Hu Qianmei anxiously pushed Su Yun away and shouted in a low voice. Hide! Su Yun was startled. He looked left and right. Hide where? That. Hu Qianmei pointed to under her bed. Under the bed? Su Yun's face turned green. He shook his head with all his might. I will not hide under a woman's bed even if I die. You! Hu Qianmei was so angry that her entire body was trembling. Seeing that this person was so stubborn, she thought about it, and could not be bothered to care so much. She immediately took out a talisman from her storage ring and slapped it on his chest. Ba dong! The talisman released a light sound, a ball of smoke came out, and then Su Yun's entire body became transparent. High-level invisibility talisman? You still have a treasure? Su Yun was startled. This was a good thing, something that could not be bought with money. This invisibility talisman can allow you to maintain a completely invisible state for 2 hours. Coupled with the magic treasure that can conceal your aura, it's a perfect match. Ordinary people are utterly unable to detect your existence. Just stay here obediently and don't make a sound, understand? Hu Qianmei suppressed the anger in her heart, stared at Su Yun's direction, then stood up, tidied up her messy skirt, breathed harshly, circulated her qi, and quickly receded the flush on her face. I wonder if the right protector is here? Lu Xian Dong requests to see you. Protector Lu Xian Dong's voice came from outside. When he landed on the ground, he released a gloomy and cold aura, allowing the 2 people in the house to know who it was. If not, Hu Qianmei would not have asked Su Yun to hide in such a hurry. If it was anyone else, they could just casually send him away. Oh. So it's Protector Lu. Hu Qianmei, who was sitting in the house, calmed her emotions, calmed her anger, and said indifferently, It's already late. Protector Lu did not go back to cultivate, but came here. I wonder what's the matter? With that said, Lu Xiandong, who was outside, was silent for a moment. Suddenly, hurried footsteps could be heard. Following that, the door was pushed open. Lu Xiandong walked in with a face full of smiles, and outside the door, the 8 human spirits stood on the left and right. Hu Qianmei's face changed, and shouted angrily, "Lu Xiandong! What are you doing? Do you know the rules? How dare you barge into my room? Do you really think I don't dare to kill you?" "Protector Lu, don't be angry." Lu Xiandong smiled. "It's just that it's inconvenient to talk through the door, and Protector Lu did not invite me in, so I came in myself. If I offended Protector Lu, please forgive me." "You!" Hu Qianmei's eyes were filled with deep hatred, but there was nothing she could do. Lu Xiandong did not care about Hu Qianmei's emotions. He walked 2 rounds in the house, with his hands behind his back. The smile on his face gradually disappeared. "Where are Hu Ming and Hu Xiang? Why are you asking them?" "Nothing much, it's just that when I came back at night, my people told me that Hu Ming and Hu Xiang carried a person into Minging school. I want to know, who is that person?" He turned his body, and stared at the petite Hu Qianmei in front of him. His eyes were like an abyss, like a huge mouth, like the sea, bottomless. Being stared at by him, an invisible pressure arose. Hu Qianmei did not look at him, and only lowered her head, a pair of charming eyes quietly moving, and said calmly, "Person? What person are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. Why is Elder Hu acting dumb? The person I'm chasing tonight." He ran towards the direction of Minging school, "But I've turned the entire Minging school upside down, but I can't find that person, and why did you appear at that place? Why did Hu Xiang and Hu Ming suddenly carry a person back? Is this a coincidence? Tell me, who is that person? I hope you can tell me the truth. Or else, or else what will you do? Can you still go to the sect leader to sue me?" Hu Qianmei's small hands patted the table that reached her chest, and snorted. "I'll tell you the truth, that person was indeed taken down by me, but so what? What did that person do to my Minging school? No, he's just a prey in your eyes. Will the sect leader punish me because of this?" "Ha ha ha ha. Of course not, of course not. You're the pillar of my Minging school, Elder Hu. He's just a nobody. I won't fall out with you because of this." Lu Xiandong laughed out loud, but the passion in his eyes was even stronger. He rubbed his chin, looked at Hu Qianmei and laughed lightly. "Since Elder Hu is interested in that person, then all right, I'll let you have that person. The reason why I'm chasing after him is not only because of his talent, but also because of the Wu Huang flower in his hands, but since he's in Protector Hu's hands, then the Wu Huang flower, I'll give it to Protector Hu. Anyway, I originally planned to give it to you." Hearing that, Hu Qianmei's body trembled, turned and asked, "For me?" "That's right." Lu Xiandong laughed. "The Wu Huang flower was originally a betrothal gift, prepared to propose marriage to the sect leader, but since it's in your hands, I don't want it back." With that, Lu Xiandong immediately turned and walked out of the house. "Elder Hu, I'll take my leave. Maybe after a period of time, I'll enter this door again. Maybe it'll be like today." "Ha ha ha ha!" The sound of laughter came out. The person walked further and further away. Hu Qianmei lowered her head, her small pink fists clenched tightly, the bones of her fingers were white. Su Yun, who was in the dark, quietly looked at Hu Qianmei, who was sitting on the chair. Seeing the pain in her lowered eyes, he frowned. "This asshole. He's actually so despicable. That little fox is really, her cultivation level is obviously not lower than his. Why is she afraid of him? Brat, hurry up and kill that asshole, he's an eyesore." The sword lady's indignant voice came out from the sword sheath. "Go to the side." Humph. There was no sound from the sword sheath. Su Yun stood in the dark for about an incense worth of time, while Hu Qianmei sat there for another incense worth of time. The two of them did not make a sound, nor did they make any movements. He should have left. Just then, Hu Qianmei's voice came out. Although it was still soft and pleasant to hear, it was filled with a deep sense of exhaustion, as though her tiredness was contagious along with her voice. Su Yun walked out from the dark. This invisibility technique, combined with your treasure, is enough for you to walk out of Ming Ying's sect easily. Don't touch the enchantment, don't be illuminated by the barrier, don't step into the trap array, alright? Hurry up and leave. Hu Qianmei said indifferently. Thank you. No need to thank me. Hu Qianmei turned her head and said indifferently. Saving you is saving me. Wait till I remove the connection between us, I'll find you to settle the debt. I don't like to owe others anything. Wait till I'm done with my matters, I'll remove the connection between us. Hee hee, you're so proactive? That's great, once you remove it, I'll kill you. I will kill you. Hu Qianmei sneered. Kill? Maybe it won't be that easy for you. Su Yun said softly, then turned and walked out of the house. Hu Qianmei was still sitting in the house, quietly looking at him. Although she could not see him, she could feel that he was walking further and further away. A light sigh came out in the house. Using the high-level invisibility talisman, Su Yun easily left Ming Ying's sect. This trip was all thanks to Hu Qianmei's help. If not for her, Su Yun would definitely be dead. But Hu Qianmei had fallen out with Lu Xiandong for Su Yun, and to him, it had definitely affected him. He shared his talent with her. If Lu Xiandong targeted Hu Qianmei, what did he do to her? Or if he hurt her or killed her, then he would be in deep trouble. If because of her, his talent was damaged and his cultivation dropped, how could he fight against the profound Sky sect and the Su family? I must kill Lu Xiandong. Su Yun muttered softly. Kill Lu Xiandong? Brat, with just you? Don't seek death. Although it looks peaceful on the surface, who knows how many experts are hiding in the dark? Take it easy. The sword lady's voice came out again. Then why did you ask me to kill him just now? I was just joking. Su Yun raised his head and continued walking forward. I can't kill him now. But that doesn't mean I can't kill him in the future. It won't be too far. I'll keep him alive for now. I won't allow anyone who can threaten me to live in this world. His voice was gloomy and hoarse. Hearing that, the sword lady shivered unknowingly. She looked at the gloomy and pale face through the sword sheath and felt that it was getting more and more strange. She secretly took a deep breath and asked, The limitless sword sheath is only passed down to righteous people. How did it end up in your hands? How did you get this sword sheath? Naturally, it was passed down to me. Su Yun's mouth curled into an evil smile. I am a righteous person. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.